Chapter 856. What grade pill master are you? Chapter 856. What grade pill master are you? Zhong Chengfeng smiled, as though nothing had happened. The moment Yimo moved, he knew his purpose. Although he could stop it, he didn't. He didn't want trouble with the all-pill tower now, but he didn't need to go help them either. It was fine for him to give this little help for a free face-preserving pill, but that was about it. Yimo knew that Zhong Chengfeng had had the opportunity to stop it. If he had, he would have known that there was no point in trying to connect with him. He would have immediately found an excuse to borrow spirit stones. Once he got the spirit stones, he would have left River State City immediately. How dare you attack the young master of the all-pill tower? City Lord Zhong, this Yimo dares to attack people in this city. Peng Shiping hadn't had the ability to help at the spur of the moment. He wanted to attack Yimo, but he knew Zhong Chengfeng had taken Yimo's pill, so he could only settle things with Zhong Chengfeng first. If he chose not to attack, then he could do whatever he wanted to Yimo. Yimo said plainly. Manager Peng, City Lord Zhong also saw what happened just then. I believe City Lord Zhong will deal with things with justice. I'm just like City Lord Zhong, someone who values husband-wife relationship. Your all-pill piece of trash dares to assault my wife. It's his luck that I haven't killed him already. Zhong Chengfeng nodded. I saw what happened just then. It was indeed the all-pill tower young master's fault. I support what Brother Yi did. City Lord Zhong, this Yimo is just a foreigner. Are you really going to side with him? Peng Shiping said. Yimo laughed. I have a way to placate your anger. Your young master likes to assault wives, right? You can take him home to assault your wife. How dare you? Peng Shiping was about to rage. Zhong Chengfeng sneered, but he didn't talk. He was clearly unhappy. Peng Shiping heard this and realized it was impossible to teach Yimo a lesson at that moment. He thought and got up, saluting Zhong Chengfeng and Yang Zheng, before taking his young master and leaving. Ha ha ha. Yang Zheng saw this and gave Yimo a thumbs up. Brother Yi is indeed fearless. You even gave the young master of the all-pill tower a beating. However, his father Lu Joqing is the boss of the River State branch. He's at Golden Core State peak stage. It's said he's trying to reach nascent soul state. With the all-pill tower's abundant resources, it will just be a matter of time. Yimo was quite shocked indeed. He had thought a branch boss would at most be at Golden Core State middle stage. He could stall around a Golden Core State cultivator, but against a nascent soul state cultivator, he wouldn't even be able to talk. As though seeing Yimo's worry, Zhong Chengfeng laughed and said, Brother Yi, don't worry. Just develop your China pharmaceuticals in this city. I don't think that the all-pill tower dares to cross the line here. Yimo saluted him. Thank you, Brother Zhong. I'll stay in this city. Please take this face-preserving pill. Then he gave the pill to Zhong Chengfeng, looking very willing. However, Yimo cursed in his heart. None of these guys were easy to deal with. Zhong Chengfeng got his pill, yet he had only said a few meaningless words. Zhong Chengfeng got what he needed and immediately left Yimo's shop, as though he had never said that they were brothers. This City Lord Zhong was a very pragmatic person. He wouldn't invest on something without getting a benefit. He was a Golden Core State cultivator and he wasn't going to lower himself to connect with a Foundation Establishment State cultivator. Yimo sighed, wondering whether he should have left the city. After thinking about all of that, he found that Yang Zheng was still sitting in front of him and hadn't left. Yang Zheng saw Yimo's expression change, but he didn't mind and instead saluted him with his fist. Those two are gone. Now let's introduce each other again. I'm the manager of the Immortal Treasure Tower River State branch, Yang Zheng. Yimo was confused by Yang Zheng's attitude and replied, I'm China Pharmaceuticals Yimo manager Yang. What do you wish to tell me? Yang Zheng smiled. Brother Yi, allow me to be straightforward. I can tell you're a brave person and I know why you gave the pill to City Lord Zhong. Yang Zheng's tone changed, however, I don't think Brother Yi understands City Lord Zhong. Your efforts might not succeed. Once Yang Zheng said this, Yimo realized that Yang Zheng meant that the face-preserving pill was precious to others, but not so to him. Seeing Yimo wasn't reply to him, Yang Zheng didn't mind. Do you know why Lord Zhong called you brother? Just like how he doesn't consider us to be at his level, he is still very polite to us. It's all because we have power behind us. Moreover, Brother Yi's master is no ordinary person. Yimo smiled bitterly. He was no idiot, but he had just realized that Yang Zheng had called him brother because of that non-existent master he had. Ha ha ha. What a pity for Brother Yi's face-preserving pill. Yang Zheng smiled and said. Yimo didn't really mind and laughed. Brother Yang is really insightful. But, are you telling me these so I can ask to have the pill back? Of course not. Yang Zheng looked at Yimo and said, the reason I stayed here is because I genuinely want to be friends with Brother Yi. If Brother Yi doesn't mind, I'm willing to take on the conflict between China Pharmaceuticals and the All-Pill Tower. Would I have that honor? Yimo was already planning to leave the city after realizing what Zhong Chengfeng was thinking, but now Yang Zheng's words confused him. They had just met for the first time. Why did he think so highly of him and was willing to help him? Yang Zheng smiled and said, Brother Yi, our immortal treasure tower has always had conflict with the All-Pill Tower. Even without Brother Yi's things, we're still enemies. The reason I approve of Brother Yi, other than the fact that you're a pill master, is that you're someone that can be a true friend. I don't think I'm wrong. Yimo wasn't going to keep pretending at this point. It would only benefit him to connect with the immortal treasure tower, so he said, thank you, Brother Yang, for approving of me. Then I'll be troubling you from now on. In that case, I won't waste time. Brother Yi, the place you rented is actually a property of our immortal treasure tower, and so is the land in a 10,000 m radius from here. If you don't mind, I'll make the decision to give it all to you for the starting step of China Pharmaceuticals, Yang Zheng said without hesitation. Who? Yimo was really dazed. The land prices were very expensive there. Brother Yi, I truly want to be friends with you. I don't think you're a mere spirit grade level 1 pill master, right? Let me guess, that benefit essence pill came from you? It's a master's work. I came today not for the face-preserving pill. I want to know what grade pill master you are, Brother Yi, Yang Zheng said. Chapter 857, Higher Pill Master. Chapter 857, Higher Pill Master. Yimo nodded. He understood what Yang Zheng meant, otherwise he wouldn't be accepting what he was giving him. Yes, I'm indeed not a spirit grade level 1 pill master, Yimo said. He saw genuine will from Yang Zheng and he didn't have any conflict of interest with the immortal treasure tower. There was no reason for Yang Zheng to harm him. It is so. Yang Zheng got up excitedly. What's the highest level pill Brother Yi can make? He seemed to have a high expectations. Yimo didn't know what Yang Zheng meant, but he said, right now, I can make more than 90% of the pills below spirit grade level 6, if I have the recipe. Yimo was confident he could make all of the spirit grade pills as long as he had the recipe, but he was being humble. What? Your spirit grade level 6 pill master? Yang Zheng was shaking with excitement. There weren't many master of this caliber, not even in the entire North Far state. Even the All-Pill Tower only had one spirit grade level 6 pill master in this city. The entire franchise couldn't have more than 5 pill masters with such skills. Yimo nodded. He was certain that with time, he could even make heaven-grade pills. Yang Zheng suddenly grabbed Yimo's hand and asked worriedly, Brother Yi, what's your success rate of making spirit-grade level 6 pills? 70%, Yimo said calmly. The new pill concoction system birthed from the 3-birth chant had a 99% success rate, but 70% was very high already. You can reach 70%. Great, 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 Yang Zheng said. Brother Yi, I was right about you. I genuinely invite you to join the Immortal Treasure Tower. Don't worry, Brother Yi, I'm not telling you to give up your China Pharmaceuticals, but just asking you to make some pills for us in your spare time in your name. So, we'd be hiring you to be our pill master. Yimo looked at Yang Zheng. Brother Yang, China Pharmaceuticals is also selling pills. In that case, wouldn't there be a conflict of interest with your tower? Yang Zheng laughed. Brother Yi, the Immortal Treasure Tower has spread over the entire North Far State. Why would we care about a mere shop in River State City? Moreover, our business isn't limited to pills, but also magic artifacts. Brother Yi, You can rebuild your China pharmaceuticals and take your wife and sister to stay at our place for the moment, Yang Zheng said, seeing that Yi Mo was interested. Yi Mo had already agreed in his heart, but he wanted to ask about the salary. However, they had just given him 10,000 SQM of land. If he still asked for a salary, wouldn't that come off as impolite? Furthermore, he still needed them to deal with the all-pill tower. Yang Zheng was very astute and said, "Brother Yi, as for the payment, I know it's half-half usually outside. We're willing to give you 10% of the pills, which means that you only have to give us 60% of the pills." Yi Mo knew this was rather good. Outside, although the pill master and the customer got half each, if the pill master only had a success rate of 60%, he would still have to give the customer half of the pills that could be made with the resources. The extra 10% increase was rather good. Yi Mo said, however, "Brother Yang, I can't agree to this arrangement." Yang Zheng was dazed. It was a very good deal. They were just hiring one person specifically, and of course they couldn't do 50-50, like outside. After all, they supplied all the material. If they split it 50-50, it wouldn't be worth for them. However, Yi Mo said, "My success rate is 70%. I'll give you guys 70% and I won't keep any extra. If you approve of me, Brother Yang, agree to this deal." He was sure he had 100% success rate for spirit grade level 6 pills, which meant that he could get 30% for free. This 30% was enough for China Pharmaceuticals to sell. He was very happy with it already. Yang Zheng understood what Yi Mo meant and looked at Yi Mo in an even higher esteem. "Okay, I'll take it then. I'll get your pill master badge sorted." Yang Zheng closed down. Yi Mo knew what the pill master badge was. Like the East Black State, the North Far State had a pill association. All the pill masters who could allow the association to approve their mortal grade pills were mortal grade pill masters. For example, a level 1 mortal pill master or level 1 spirit pill master. Those who could make heaven grade pills were called pill kings. There was no title for beyond that, as the highest level on Luoyu continent was only a level 7 pill king. Yi Mo really didn't care about the badge or the title, but since Yang Zheng was willing to help, he wouldn't mind. Yang Zheng could only help him to be recognized as a level 6 spirit pill master. Beyond that, he would have to be tested by the association himself. With the title of a spirit pill master, it would be much easier for him when he dealt with the pill association. Not only could he buy restricted herbs, but he also get discounts. After releasing the news of the Foundation Establishment pill and the face-preserving pill, China Pharmaceuticals released another piece of shocking news. They were going to expand their land and build a China Pharmaceuticals tower. The head pill master of China Pharmaceuticals, Yi Mo, was also hired to be a pill master for the Immortal Treasure Tower. When China Pharmaceuticals Tower was being built, Yi Mo took Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling to the headquarters of the Immortal Treasure Tower. He urged Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling to keep cultivating while he was concocting pills for the Immortal Treasure Tower. When Yi Mo was concocting pills, he realized he could indeed concoct pills while cultivating, and this made him breathe at ease. He didn't want to waste too much cultivation time for pill concoction. It wasn't as good as focusing just on cultivation, but it was better than nothing. When Peng Shiping heard the news, he was dazed, but he could only watch Yi Mo get stronger. Zhong Chengfeng heard these news and smiled plainly when he thought about Yi Mo using the face-preserving pill to suck up to him. Yang Zheng looked cunning, but he was still too inexperienced. Yi Mo had somehow made Yang Zheng hire him. In a matter of a week, the tower was finished. Yi Mo took Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling back to the China Pharmaceuticals Tower. Song Yangzhu was now at stage 4 Kai gathering and Yi Ling at stage 5. What surprised Yang Zheng was that Yi Mo made pills much faster than other pill masters, and this greatly relieved the demand on pills for the Immortal Treasure Tower. Due to this, Yi Mo also got a higher status. With adequate cultivation resources and spirit Kai, he was at Foundation Establishment State Level 3 Tertiary stage. Most of the spirit stones he had earned were used on buying materials. They seemed like forgery materials, but Yi Mo knew that he was buying formation materials. Yi Mo believed that his strongest talent wasn't pill concoction, but setting formations. Chapter 858, Old Friend. Chapter 858, Old friend Yi Mo was indeed planning to set up a few formations around China Pharmaceuticals. The first was a spirit-gathering formation. His formation skills exceeded by far formation masters there. Yi Mo was also going to lay an extremely strong defense formation and an attack formation. It was all superficial, however. Yi Mo was secretly building a teleportation formation. If Yi Mo said he could build teleportation formation, perhaps the entire North Far State would be shocked. There were many people who could build formations, but rarely those who could build teleportation formations. It was only people who studied formations for centuries. How old was Yi Mo? However, Yi Mo's specialty was teleportation formations. He had studied it for many years in the small world. With Yi Mo's current level, he could only make a short-distance teleportation formation of 100,000 kilometers. But that was enough for Yi Mo. He was building it as an escape. Even though Yang Zheng was genuine to him, he wasn't going to let others be responsible for his life. The only pity was that he was missing two materials. A month later, Sun Jizai successfully reached Foundation establishment state and went to China Pharmaceuticals to help. With this, Yi Mo wanted to hire more people. Yi Mo felt that Yi Ling and Song Yangzhu's talent was good and their progress was fast, but working as a shop attendant also greatly affected their cultivation. Yi Mo had told Sun Jizai to put up hiring notices. Two people were stumbling towards China Pharmaceuticals. Behind the two of them there were two cultivators chasing them. Yi Mo could tell that the people chasing them were from the All-Pill Tower. Yi Mo was speechless. They were too cocky. Yet, he knew that in this city, as long as you didn't kill overtly, it was fine for the All-Pill Tower to do this. It was a man and woman who were running towards him. The man seemed to be in his 40s and the woman seemed to be just 30. Her skin was dark and had a round face and big eyes. Yi Mo felt she was familiar. They were both injured. Yi Mo realized that they were ancient martial artists. The man was at black level middle stage while the woman was at yellow level tertiary stage. Su Yu, look. This is China Pharmaceuticals. We're here. The man saw the words and called out in joy. The woman also looked up and charged immediately. Su Yu. Yi Mo remembered who this woman was. When he set up the stall in Ninghai to sell runes, he sold one to Su Jingwen and another to the round-faced woman next to her. He couldn't have imagined she was here too. So what if you're here? Believe me when I say that if I want to catch bugs like you, even if you escape to the edge of heaven, I will still kill you, the two pursuers sneered. Oh, really? I don't believe you. I want to see how you're going to beat someone here at China Pharmaceuticals, Yi Mo sneered standing at the door of China Pharmaceuticals. The two All-Pill Tower cultivators saw Yi Mo as soon as they came out. They knew who Yi Mo was, a foreign weak cultivator, but he was lucky and got hired by the Immortal Treasure Tower. He was very cocky and if he even dared to beat their young master, he would beat them too. Yi Qianbei, these two foreign solo cultivators have some conflict with us. Please don't intervene, one Stage 7 Kai gathering said. Shishit. These two are my old friends and you dare attack them in China Pharmaceuticals. Do you think I don't dare kill you? Yi Mo didn't move and just waved his hands. Slap slap, the two Kai gathering cultivators from the All-Pill Tower were slapped far away, each spitting out a bunch of teeth, but they didn't dare say anything. The woman covered in wounds recognized Yi Mo and immediately called out in joy, Yi Mo, are you really Yi Mo? Yi Mo smiled and said, hello, I didn't think you'd be here too. Go in first. Yi Mo then glared coldly at the two cultivators. Hurry up and piss off. Do you want me to break your dog legs too? Yi Mo knew he couldn't do anything to the two men. He was relying on the Immortal Treasure Tower, he didn't have his own power. Their face turned white, but they ran away quickly. Seeing that such powerful men didn't even dare to speak after being slapped, Su Yu and the man next to her were even more shocked. They had been at the North Far State for quite some time and they knew that yellow and black level ancient martial artists were at the very bottom there. Yi Mo took them in and found out after asking them that the man was called Sheng Yizhong and came from the small world. He had met Su Yu here and their point of connection was Yi Mo. Yi Mo dominated the small world and all of those who cultivated ancient martial arts knew of him. Apart from them, there were a lot more people who crossed the teleportan formation, But they only knew about truth cultivation here. They were old and their talent was average. It was too hard for them to join a sect, so they could only roam around. They heard of a shop called China Pharmaceuticals in River State City, so they rushed over immediately. Xiaoye, you're Su Jingwen's bodyguard. Why are you here like this, and how did you get into a conflict with people from the All-Pill Tower? Emo sighed. He could tell that the ancient martial artists who had gone there weren't living very well. Su Yu sighed. Brother Yi, I'm from the Su family and my master picked me to learn ancient martial arts because I had some talent. I later on became Sister Jingwen's bodyguard, but some time ago, I heard Sister Jingwen went through the portal, so I came. As for the conflict with them, they were looking for trouble when we asked about China Pharmaceuticals. Thinking about this, Emo realized that the two martial artists had nowhere to go and he needed to hire people, so he said, if you have nowhere to go, then stay at China Pharmaceuticals. I was hiring people anyways. I can provide you cultivation resources and a cultivation method. They had no place to go anyways, and with such an offer, they agreed without hesitation. Emo hired 2 more female cultivators, which saved time for Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling to cultivate. He taught Sun Jitsai some simple pill concoction methods and gave him the job of making ordinary pills. Meanwhile, he dived into formation research. Even with support, the conflict between him and the All-Pill Tower was far from over. He was only lacking 2 materials for the portal: Star Sand and Segment Darth. Emo just needed ordinary ones, extreme high-quality ones were very rare. In the 2nd month, China Pharmaceuticals was on the right track. Hence, Emo was planning on going to search for these 2 materials outside. Song Yangzhu was at stage 5 and Yi Ling at stage 6. Even Su Yu and Shengizhong were at stage 1 and everything seemed fine. Emo had found out from Yang Zheng that in a week at the Nanshan market, there was going to be an auction that might sell Star Sand. Hence, Emo asked Yang Zheng to look after China Pharmaceuticals while he sneaked over to the Nanshan market. Chapter 859, Ping Yaro Li Family. Chapter 859, Ping Yaro Li Family. The Nanshan market wasn't close to River State City, but it could be reached by teleporting to Ganyuan City and then go from there. Emo knew that if he used the teleportation formation, the All-Pill Tower would know for sure. Although Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling should be fine, he still didn't want the All-Pill Tower to know he had left the city. Emo used Li Bison's flying pike to leave. It would cost him an extra few days, but it didn't matter. Emo was at Foundation Establishment State Level 3 peak now. He was much faster than when Yi Ling and Song Yangzhu piloted the pike. He spent 2 days to travel half the way. On the 3rd afternoon, Emo stopped not far from Ganyuan City and found a white snow fox. The fox dashed and it reminded Emo of the snow fox he had seen in the Nei snow mountains. This fox looked the same, but it was countless times faster. Because snow foxes were animals that could find spirit items, Emo chased it without thinking. However, the fox was very fast and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Luckily, it wasn't out of Emo's spirit sense yet, so Emo could follow it. Emo thought it would be easy for him to catch the fox, but 2 hours later Emo realized that the fox was taking him further and further away. He realized he had no hope, he wasn't as fast as the fox. Just when Emo was about to give up, a wave of power alerted him. He took back his spirit sense, and even the flying pike. He clearly felt that both powers weren't something he could deal with. It was clear that the powers belonged to Golden Core State cultivators. Emo used the 3-birth chant stealth ability and retreated. He didn't want to be stopped. But before Emo could, the 2 Golden Core State cultivators came in his line of sight. Emo immediately lay prone without thinking. He didn't even dare to let out his spirit sense. He just hid in a corner, not moving. Ji Changsheng, we're both Zhang Yuan sword sect cultivators. I already gave you the thing, why are you still trying to kill me? It was a woman's voice. Emo didn't dare to scan with his spirit sense, so he peeked. He actually knew the woman. The woman was Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling's master, Li Yuqian. Why was Ji Changsheng trying to kill her? They both seemed heavily wounded, but Ji Changsheng was better off than Li Yuqian. Ji Changsheng sneered, you gave me the thing, but you already took one. Do you know what a cow huan fruit means to our Li family? It means a nascent soul state cultivator. Of course I can let you go. Just leave behind a drop of your life essence blood. The cow huan fruit was a level 6 spirit herb. It was very rare, rarer than a face-preserving fruit because it could be made into a cow huan pill. It was a pill needed for reaching nascent soul state. A fully matured cow huan plant would bear 9 fruits. He didn't know how many Ji Changsheng had. Although Yi Mo also desired it, he knew he wouldn't be able to get his hands on it. Keep dreaming. Your surname is Ji. How are you from the Li family? Li Yuqian rejected the proposal without hesitation. Even if she saved her life, giving out her life essence blood meant that she would be someone else's puppet. How could she do something like that? Ji Changsheng sneered and stared at her. I've always been from the Li family. Then, he flashed a jade card with the word Li. Yi Mo remembered that when he killed Li Baisen, he also got a jade card with the word Li in it. It seemed that these two men were from the same family. Knowing that Li Baisen had such a powerful family member, Yi Mo felt cold sweat on his back. If Li Changsheng had chased after him, he wouldn't have been able to get away even in the River State City. Ji Changsheng was at least at Golden Core State Tertiary stage, and although Yi Mo didn't know why 2 months had passed fine, that sense of danger rose up in his heart. Then, should I call you Li Changsheng? Li Changsheng, even if you're from the Li family, was it necessary to kill Elder Han? Was it necessary to kill Elder Yu? You took the cow huan fruit. Why are you trying to kill everyone from the same sect? Li Yuqian roared. Ha ha ha. Li Changsheng suddenly laughed and put his sword away. He took out a golden single-edged sword instead. He waved it and said, when I left my family, I stayed at Pingyaro City. Yet, the Zhengyuan sword sect, being a double-edged sword sect, wanted my Li family's illusion cloud 6 strikes. Yu Zhunfei and Han Mu, these 2 old fart ancestors, took people from the Zhengyuan sword sect and robbed our Li family's illusion cloud 6 strike. We, Li family descendants, swore that one day we would come back to Pingyaro City and make a bloodbath with the Zhengyuan sword sect. Killing Yu Zhunfei and Han Mu is just the beginning. You're from the Pingyaro Li family? This means Li Baisen is also from the Li family? Li Yuqian was shaking. Clearly, she knew about this story. Li Changsheng said hatefully, if you give me your life essence blood, I can let you go. The Zhengyuan sword sect won't exist anymore anyways. It will only remain the Li family. You took one of my cow huan fruits and you're now at Golden Core State Tertiary stage. If you joined the Li family, you could even reach nascent soul state. Li Qianyu's face went pale. Li Changsheng said pridefully, this time, I got 5 cow huan fruits. Other than Li Baisen and me, there are 3 more Golden Core State cultivators in the Li family and they're all at Golden Core State Tertiary stage. There will be at least 2 of us reaching nascent soul state. If that happens, we would have the foundations for a 4-star sect. The Zhengyuan sword sect will be nothing. If you know what's good, keep dreaming. Even if I die, I won't hand over my life essence blood. Li Yuqian interrupted him without hesitation and spun her sword to attack Li Changsheng. Li Changsheng sneered and said, I've reached the 5th strike of the illusion cloud 6 strikes. I want to see how many strikes you can block. Yi Mo hadn't thought that Li Yuqian could already be at Golden Core State Tertiary stage. That cow huan fruit was really not bad. Li Changsheng could take the upper hand easily, which meant that he was at least at Golden Core State peak. Li Changsheng and Li Yuqian were more or less on the same level, so Yi Mo no longer had the intention of running. If he hid on the side, when they both got injured, he would have an opportunity. Suddenly, a huge explosion sounded. Li Changsheng's first strike had clashed with Li Yuqian's flying sword. Li Yuqian spat mouthfuls of blood. Even from this far, Yi Mo felt the killing intent of the sword Kai. Chapter 860. Ambushing a Golden Core State Cultivator. Chapter 860. Ambushing a Golden Core State Cultivator. Li Yuqian grabbed some runes expressionlessly and activated all of them in an instant. She then took out a bright red feather and weaved a few hand signs. The feather immediately turned into a 10-meter-long fiery vortex that enveloped Li Changsheng. Such power! Yi Mo could tell this was Li Yuqian's trump card. Now was best time to intervene. Yi Mo was a straightforward person. He knew that Li Yuqian's means would bring Li Changsheng some trouble, but it wouldn't be enough to defeat him. If he didn't move now, he wouldn't have that opportunity. At the same time, Li Yuqian attacked. Yi Mo secretly released Shadowless. Li Changsheng sneered and used the second strike. The runes Li Yuqian had activated turned into a sea of flames. Yi Mo could tell that it had been caused by at least level 5 or above runes. However, Li Changsheng's one strike quenched all the flames, while not even a strand of his hair was burnt. Yi Mo thought that Li Changsheng was so strong. Sizzle Yi Mo knew that it was the flaming vortex. If that couldn't injure Li Changsheng either, then Yi Mo decided not to send out Shadowless. Li Changsheng sliced away the runes. He saw an overwhelming amount of flames come at him, but he smirked. The next moment, his golden sword gathered countless golden sword kai and sliced the flaming vortex. Sizzle Li Changsheng's expression changed drastically. The flame seemed to pose a great threat to him. Li Fire Feather. Li Changsheng called out these words and the golden color disappeared from his sword. His clothes and hair turned into ashes. Except his inner protection spirit artifact, he didn't have a single strand of clothes on him. Yi Mo realized that now was the best time to attack. So without thinking, he sent out Shadowless to attack Li Changsheng while gathering all the cultivation essence to activate the 3-birth sword ray. He would have sent out Winter's Arrival if he hadn't been concerned that it might affect the Li Fire Feather's power. Li Yuqian was already at her limit due to activating the feather. Hence, she had to burn her essence blood to send out her flying sword to attack Li Changsheng, who was focused on defending himself against the flames. Li Changsheng could only prevent her from damaging his vitals, but the flying sword still pierced his body. Usually, these wounds meant nothing. However, he was using his full power to defend himself from the fire and he couldn't heal himself. Just when Li Yuqian sat on the ground, she saw Yi Mo dart out. When she saw Yi Mo attack Li Changsheng with his flying sword, she was truly dazed. She didn't know whether Yi Mo was simply innocently brave or had a plan. Yet, she could barely talk, so she could only watch as Yi Mo attacked Li Changsheng. Li Changsheng was furious when he saw that a mere Foundation Establishment State cultivator dared to attack him, but all of his cultivation essence was being used up by the Li Fire Feather and he didn't have a spare hand to fight back when he saw countless sword rays birthed from Yi Mo's flying sword. His expression finally changed. He was going to be able to leave the fire in a little while, but that Foundation Establishment State cultivator had chosen the perfect timing. Ah! Li Changsheng roared and burned his essence blood. But even so, Li Changsheng's cultivation essence wall was easily burned down by the fire. Who are you? How dare you ambush me? Do you think you can kill me? I suggest you leave now or you will die for sure today, Li Changsheng threatened him. Yi Mo smiled and ordered Shadowless to dash into Li Changsheng's body. When Shadowless got in, Yi Mo breathed at ease. He knew that Shadowless wasn't enough to take down a golden core state cultivator, but Li Changsheng was distracted by him and the fire. What is this? Li Changsheng felt Shadowless as soon as it got inside Li Changsheng's body, and he tried to push it out with his cultivation essence. Yi Mo hadn't expected Li Changsheng to be this strong. He had only used a little of his cultivation essence, but he had managed forced Shadowless out. Shadowless was Yi Mo's trump card. Yi Mo didn't think he stood any chance of winning a fight against Li Changsheng. Without thinking, he activated the second stance of the 3-birth sword ray, attacking Li Changsheng's vitals. Li Changsheng couldn't deal with Shadowless anymore and focused his mind on dealing with the fire and the 3-birth sword ray. At this moment, Yi Mo sent Shadowless in Li Changsheng's body again. Seeing that the fire was growing weaker, Yi Mo burned his essence blood to make his 3-birth sword ray stronger. He couldn't let Li Changsheng have it easy now. Li Changsheng was furious at Yi Mo's way of fighting. Li Changsheng had decided to ignore that small thing. He didn't think something that a Foundation Establishment State released would be enough to threaten him. He just needed to annihilate the flames and he could then easily kill that Foundation Establishment State cultivator. Yi Mo immediately noticed Li Changsheng's intentions and rejoiced. He ordered Shadowless not to eat Li Changsheng's essence blood, but to eat his organs. However, it was a very slow process. When Li Changsheng found out that shadowless was something that ate organs, he rested at ease and wasn't as careful as before, but he still kept an eye on it. Even if he didn't do anything, this thing wouldn't be able to eat his organs. Moreover, even if his organs were partly eaten, he could recover them quickly. Li Changsheng smirked. He knew he had one. When Li Yuqian saw the flames grow weaker, her eyes were full of despair. She hadn't expected Li Changsheng to be able to annihilate it this quickly. Yi Mo saw the flames die and knew time was up. He controlled Shadowless to devour Li Changsheng's Dantian and essence blood as quickly as it could. Instantly, Shadowless devoured all of Li Changsheng's Dantian. In that instant, Li Changsheng realized what was going on, but Shadowless was too fast. He couldn't even react and his Dantian had already been devoured. Li Changsheng was shook. He wanted to force out Shadowless, so he ignored the flames and the 3-birth sword ray. However, Shadowless was too fast. It already was devouring Li Changsheng's meridians and essence blood. Li Changsheng forgot about the flames in his worry. Sizzle, there was a burning smell of meat. Li Changsheng's body crumbled down rapidly and Yi Mo dealt the final blow, piercing Li Changsheng's body with the 3-birthed word ray. Curse you! Li Changsheng swore as he struggled. He had been killed by a Foundation establishment state insect. Li Yuqian, who couldn't move at all, stared at this shocking scene unable to say a word. Things had happened too fast and she fainted immediately when she relaxed. Chapter 861. This should be an adequate reason. Chapter 861. This should be an adequate reason. Yi Mo saw that he had already killed Li Changsheng, yet the fire wasn't dead yet. Shadowless was enjoying a big meal and he didn't want it to get hurt, so he sent out Winter's arrival. A frigid coldness instantly extinguished the flame and formed an ice cocoon on the surface of Li Changsheng's charred corpse. After a moment, Shadowless flew out of Li Changsheng's body and wobbly fell into Yi Mo's hand. It stopped moving immediately and fell asleep. Yi Mo sent Shadowless into the Golden Page world and found that only 1/3 of Li Changsheng's essence blood was gone. Yi Mo sighed. A golden core state cultivator wasn't someone that Shadowless could deal with now. Shadowless couldn't even finish all the essence blood. The reason that Li Changsheng could have been killed was due to a myriad of reasons, but his 3-birth sword ray was the weakest one. Yi Mo scanned Li Yuqian, who had already fallen unconscious, and ignored her. He took Li Changsheng's storage ring immediately. There were a few encrypted formations on the ring, but Li Changsheng was dead and it posed no problem to a formation master like Yi Mo. Yi Mo didn't spend much time until he completely decrypted Li Changsheng's ring. When he saw the things inside, he couldn't keep calm anymore. What excited him the most was the cow horn fruit. Even in a clear jade box, it was very eye-catching. There were countless spirit stones. Even after comparing the earnings he had made from China Pharmaceuticals, they were nothing compared to Li Changsheng's. There were tens of millions of low-grade spirit stones and nearly 1 million middle-grade spirit stones. However, Yi Mo felt the most happy when he saw 1,000 top-grade spirit stones inside. Other than this, there were more than 10 cultivation jade slips. Yi Mo flipped through them casually. They kept record of some cultivation methods and sword abilities, as well as high-level pills. There were also at least 6 spirit artifacts and some materials. Yi Mo took Li Changsheng's ring happily. It was good business. He burned Li Changsheng with a fireball and looked at Li Yuqian. He didn't know what to do with her. If he was ruthless, he would have killed her and taken her ring. Yet, Yi Mo really couldn't do that, mainly because she had treated Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling quite well, despite looking down on him a little. Realizing that she was still Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling's master, Yi Mo took out a Lotus Life Pill and gave it to her. The Lotus Life Pill was a scarce pill for recovery, but the ones he made were rather low quality. However, it could still wake her up. Yi Mo didn't have many left either, he only had 3 left now. Yi Mo took an essence recovery pill and started to recover his cultivation essence. He wanted to leave after she woke up. After all, it was a barren place. Also, he still wanted to find out about how powerful the Li family was. He had killed 3 members of the Li family. If they found out about it, they would never let him go. Li Yuqian woke up soon after taking the Lotus Life Pill and she saw Yi Mo, who wasn't far away. She remembered what happened before and struggled trying to get up before taking a few more pills. 15 minutes later, they both finished digesting the pills. Li Yuqian didn't get up. She just looked calmly at Yi Mo and asked, "I'm a golden core state cultivator. I have lots of good things in my storage ring, why didn't you kill and take it?" Yi Mo smiled calmly. "Your things don't interest me. But no matter how much I would want it, I wouldn't kill you." Li Yuqian hadn't expected this reply. She was dazed before asking, "Why?" Yi Mo stood up and smiled. "Because you're Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling's master." Li Yuqian was dazed. She hadn't expected it to have such a simple reason. She remembered that at the Miaoshan market, she didn't even consider Yi Mo to have good talent, and she thought Yi Mo wouldn't even have a chance to see Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling later on, as they didn't belong in the same world. Yet ironically, she had met Yi Mo so soon again and had been saved by an insect in her eyes. Yi Mo, who she thought had no future, was now at Foundation Establishment State Level 3 peak and had killed a Golden Core State peak stage cultivator not long ago. Even she had to recognize Yi Mo's absurd power since she also knew Li Changsheng's power very well. Even with her fire's help, it had been no easy task for Yi Mo to kill him. If he had been that easy to kill, then she could have done it after releasing the fire, yet she couldn't. Seeing Li Yuqian stare at him for a long time and not speak, Yi Mo said again, "Although Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling have left the Zhengyuan sword sect, you were quite nice to them. I think that reason is adequate enough." "What? They left? What's this?" Li Yuqian asked in shock. Hearing this, Yi Mo realized that she had never even gone back since she last left the sect. No wonder she didn't know. It seemed Li Changsheng didn't know the Li Bai brothers were dead either. Yi Mo said, "Because I killed Li Bailin and offended Li Bailsen. Then I killed Li Baisen, so I could only take them and run away." "What? You killed Li Bailsen?" Li Yuqian immediately realized that Yi Mo had killed 3 elite members of the Li family. Yi Mo told her everything. Li Yuqian heard this and fell silent for a long while. It's inconvenient for a Foundation Establishment State cultivator to take them outside. If you believe me, then take them and come back to the sect with me. I can guarantee you their safety. Yi Mo sneered to himself. She wouldn't be able to guarantee her own safety. Li Changsheng had said himself that the sect would be run by the Li family soon. Li Yuqian noticed Yi Mo's feelings and smiled plainly. "Do you think the Li family will attack the sect? Our sect has been passed on for many generations. If we know about their scheme and we still can't deal with them, the sect won't need to exist anymore." Yi Mo smiled and didn't reply. It was impossible for him to go back with her. Just when he wanted to ask her some questions, a faint ray of fire landed in front of Li Yuqian and Li Yuqian grabbed it. It was flying sword message. Yi Mo could tell by the fire that it was urgent, so he waited on the side. After reading it, Li Yuqian's expression changed drastically. After being in a daze for a long while, she said with disillusion, "So that's it. This is such a pity. Li Qianbei, what's wrong?" Yi Mo asked. Li Yuqian said, "Yi Mo, where are you staying with Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling right now?" Yi Mo didn't know why she was asking this, but he still replied, "I opened up a pill shop at River State City, but I might be leaving there. I want to ask Qianbei, how much do you know about the Li family?" Li Yuqian shook her head. "You don't have to worry about them anymore. They are in the past, they were annihilated by the sect yesterday." Yi Mo rejoiced. It seemed like he didn't need to worry about being hunted. If he had known this earlier, he wouldn't have told Li Yuqian where he was staying. Who knew if she would want the things in Li Changsheng's storage ring later on? However, why was she acting weirdly? Chapter 862, Li Yuqian, victim of a scheme. Chapter 862, Li Yuqian, victim of a scheme. Why didn't she seem happy about the news? "Do you think that I should be happy about the news?" Li Yuqian suddenly asked. Yi Mo nodded. "Yes, you just said that the sect was strong and that it wasn't afraid of the Li family. Why do you suddenly seem like that you don't want the Li family to be annihilated?" Li Yuqian gave the flying sword message to Yi Mo. "You will know after you read it. It was sent secretly by my close friend." Yi Mo read the message. It was very short. The Li family was annihilated yesterday. The burst soul pill of the Li family is on Li Changsheng. If you get these news while still free, run away immediately. I've left already. If you're trapped, tell Dash the message was getting unclear and eventually disappeared. Li Yuqian sighed. You opened up a pill store. Even if you're not a pill master, you should know about the burst soul pill, right? Yimo nodded. This pill was for golden core state tertiary stage cultivators. After taking it, one would gain a burst of power for 4 hours. A golden core state peak stage cultivator could even reach nascent soul state middle stage. This pill was similar to the burst essence pill, but the ingredients for the pill were even rarer than the cow horn fruit. Its side effects were also much more potent than the burst essence pills. The consumer would lose 3 levels of power. If a golden core state peak stage was lucky, he would be able to remain at golden core state primary stage. If not, he would drop to foundation establishment state. Moreover, the ingredients used for the pill could be used for hollow spirit state pills, so rarely anyone would use it to make such a useless burst soul pill. Yet, the message said that the Li family had one and it had been passed down. Li Yuqian then said despondently, the one who told us about the ruin and arranged for us to come here was the big elder of the sect, Qian Tuoshure. He was supposed to come, but he couldn't make it in last minute. Hearing this, he understood and asked, are you saying Qian Tuoshure sent you 3 to die, hold Li Changsheng back and make him take the burst soul pill? Meanwhile, the sect would annihilate the Li family? Li Yuqian nodded. That should be it. Yimo took a breath in. They had used the cow horn fruit as a bait. Then he said, if it had been me, I wouldn't want to lose these good items. Li Yuqian shook her head. You're wrong. He doesn't know about the cow horn fruit. If he did, he wouldn't have let it go. We never reached our target place. We were trapped in a trap formation for a few months. We only broke free yesterday and then we saw a stealth formation. After breaking in, we found the cow horn fruit. So in the end, we never got to the place Li Tuoshure told us to go. Yimo frowned. He felt things didn't seem right. He thought and asked, I still have 2 questions, Qianbei. First, how could Li Changsheng get injured if he had the burst soul pill? He could easily kill a golden core state cultivator if he took it. Second, how could Qian Tuoshure be sure that Li Changsheng would want to kill you as soon as you guys found the place? Li Yuqian said, who can predict everything in the world? In his eyes, Zhen Fei and Han Mu are at golden core state peak stage and tertiary stage respectively. With my middle stage peak power, Li Changsheng would have never succeed if he didn't take the burst soul pill. He didn't expect us not to find the ruin he provided us, but instead we found the cow horn fruit. He also didn't expect Li Changsheng to be this cunning and decisive. If you hadn't been here, Li Changsheng would have succeeded. Did you 4 break the stealth formation first and then find the cow horn fruit? Li Changsheng said for everyone to consume one first. Yimo asked. Li Yuqian looked approvingly at Yimo and said, yes, when we found the cow horn fruit, I was very happy too. No one objected to Li Changsheng's proposal, so we ate one each. But while we were digesting the fruit, Li Changsheng ate the fruit but didn't start to digest it. He killed Han Mu and heavily injured Zhen Fei while they were cultivating. However, he was heavily injured too by Zhen Fei's counterattack. But I was able to digest the fruit while they were fighting and reach golden core state tertiary stage. Yimo nodded. No wonder Li Changsheng hadn't taken the burst soul pill. Li Yuqian continued, I knew I was no match for him, so I ran. And you know what happened afterwards? Yimo understood the full story now. It seemed like a burst soul pill was in the ring and he didn't even know about it. He could sell it for money, even if he didn't need it. Yimo looked at the fatigued Li Yuqian and asked, doesn't the Zhengyuan sword sect also have a nascent soul state cultivator? Why be afraid of the burst soul pill? Li Yuqian smiled bitterly. Grand Elder Wang failed in reaching hollow spirit state 30 years ago and died. If Elder Wang were still here, not even a 4-star sect would dare to fight us, much less the Li family. That Qian Tuoshure wouldn't dare use us as a bait either. Another reason that Li Yuqian hadn't mentioned was that Qian Tuoshure had sent them to die because they also disagreed with merging the sect with the hidden sword sect. Yi Mo understood what was going on, but he didn't want to stay with Li Yuqian. After all, she was at Golden Core State and he was at Foundation Establishment State. What plans do you have now, Li Qianbei? Yi Mo thought and asked. Li Yuqian hesitated before saying, I was born in the Zheng Yuan sword sect, but I don't want to go back now, so I don't have a place to go. If you don't mind, I can tell my senior disciple to come out and we can go together to your pill shop. Yi Mo shook his head. I don't mind that, but if you're coming with your senior disciple, then you don't need to come to my place. If I'm not wrong, your senior disciple allied with Li Bailsen. Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling were in trouble due to her. Then, Yi Mo explained what happened at the peak. Hearing the story, Li Yuqian's face changed many times before giving a long sigh. In that case, I'll go to the river state myself. Yangzhu and Yi Ling are my disciples, I didn't teach them much. I can go to river state to recover and teach them. Yi Mo couldn't really stop her now. He took out 3 cow horn fruits and gave them to Li Yuqian. Qianbei, you can have these. I got 5 altogether. Li Yuqian's face changed and said with a sunken expression, Yi Mo, I've always lived in the sect and I rarely went out. So, I don't think about a lot of things. If you think I'm going to River State for the fruits, then I won't go. It's precious, but first, I don't know how to concoct pills nor do I know high-level pill masters. It's useless to me. Hearing this, Yi Mo took it back and said, Sorry, Qianbei, I misunderstood you. In that case, I'll take back the fruit. I know a pill master who can make heaven-grade level 1 pills. I can give you a cow horn pill later. What? You know a level 1 pill king? Li Yuqian couldn't stay calm anymore. Chapter 863, Nanshan Market. Chapter 863, Nanshan Market. Even a nascent soul state cultivator had to be respectful to a level 1 pill king. The main pills used by nascent soul state cultivators were spirit grade level 8 and 9 pills and maybe heaven grade level 1 pills. Only pill kings could make heaven level pills. Yi Mo also felt proud of himself. Although he couldn't make the cow horn pill right now, he believed he could in a few months. Yi Mo nodded seriously. Yes, my master is a pill king. He can make the cow horn pill. Yi Mo felt like that non-existent master was quite a convenient card, so he played it again. Yi Mo's master was a pill king. Li Yuqian was dazed. She hadn't though Yi Mo could have such a big background. Yi Mo probably met the master after encountering her, since it would have been quite easy to help Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling find a nascent soul state master. Thinking about this, Li Yuqian said gratefully, Then I'm grateful to your master. Yi Mo smiled. You're Yangzhu and Yi Ling's master. Also, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to get the cow horn fruit. A cow horn pill is nothing compared to that, but since you have decided to go to River State, I think it's best to go as soon as possible. We shouldn't stay here for long. Then, do we go there now? Li Yuqian could sense that Yi Mo was a lot more experienced in the world and fighting than her, so she asked for his opinion. No, I'm going to the Nanshan market first. But first, I'll find a place for Qianbei to recover, Yi Mo replied. Li Yuqian thought for a moment and said, In that case, I'll go with you to the market after I've recovered. Yi Mo waved his hand. Qianbei, if I'm not wrong, it definitely won't be long until Zheng Tuoshui goes to the ruins he told you about. If he finds that none of you guys went, he will know that something went wrong. No matter what, he won't be at ease. He will try to find one of you first. With your Golden Core State reputation, Zheng Tuoshui will know immediately if you go to the market. So, it's best that you head secretly to my place to recover. You should change your face too. Yi Mo wanted to go to the ruins and damage it, making the scene seem like 3 out of the 4 cultivators had died and Li Changsheng had gotten away. However, Yi Mo was aware that it would be very hard for him to do that with his current power. Even knowing that they had managed to break the trap formation Qian Tuoshui had made, he didn't dare to try anything. If they had happened to encounter the Great Elder, they would have never gotten away. Li Yuqian nodded. They packed their things and quickly left. Half a day later, they were more than 100,000 kilometers away from where the battle had taken place. Li Yuqian was quite heavily injured, so Yimo had no other option but to wait for her to recover. There were still 3 days left until the auction, so Yimo wasn't in too much of a rush. After a day, Li Yuqian had recovered greatly. She took out a mask and gave it to Yimo. "This is for you. You are capable of hiding next to me and Li Changsheng and not be noticed, which means that you have a really good stealth cultivation method. I don't have anything good. This mask is called 9 transformations. After you spirit control it, it can change into 9 different faces. No one under hollow spirit state will be able to recognize you. It's yours." Yimo knew it was a very good artifact. It was probably very valuable to Li Yuqian too. He quickly rejected it. "Qianbei, I don't have a lot of enemies. Qianbei should keep this for yourself." Li Yuqian shook her head. "I will put on a mask after I get to River State City. I will be staying inside China Pharmaceuticals until I reach nascent soul state, unless something happens. I don't need it. However, you might need it for the auction." Hearing this, Yimo agreed and took it. He also found the burst soul pill in Li Changsheng's storage ring and gave it to Li Yuqian. Li Yuqian was aware that it wasn't much use to Yimo, so she took it and the 2 cultivators followed their own paths. Yimo only took a day to get to the Nanshan market. The place wasn't owned by a sect. It had developed into a large-scale cultivation market. It was said that there was a nascent soul state peak stage cultivator protecting this place, so everyone felt very safe making deals there. No one would dare offend a nascent soul state peak stage cultivator. Yimo was planning on finding a hotel to stay for the night, but because he had arrived too late, many hotels were full. There were cultivation homes too, but Yimo wasn't going to rent one just for one night. It was too extravagant. When Yimo went to the 8th hotel, Yimo finally was told by the receptionist that there was a room available. However, the room was more than twice as expensive as the other ones. It was 50 spirit stones a night. "Okay, then I'll take this room." Suddenly, someone said, "Are there top-quality rooms here?" The voice was crisp and prideful. Yimo turned around to see a pretty woman in her 20s. She was wearing a pink dress and had fair skin. Her hair was tied up beautifully with butterfly ornaments on it. She was even prettier than Song Yangzhu. Moreover, she was that young and was already at Foundation Establishment State Level 7. Behind her there was a not-so-handsome young man in his 20s. His skin was a little dark and he had a squared face. He seemed very innocent. He walked behind the girl but he didn't talk. However, he was also at Foundation Establishment State Level 7. The waiter was shook by the girl's beauty and it took him a while to react. There was just one top-grade room, but this friend here already took it. There's another low-grade room but it's rather cheap. 8 spirit stones a night. Yimo heard this and wondered why the receptionist hadn't told him about it too. He could have saved 42 spirit stones. The difference was just in the level of spirit Kai inside the rooms. Hearing this, the woman immediately looked at Yimo and said, "Give me your top-grade room, you can have the low-grade room." If the woman had asked nicely, Yimo would have agreed for sure. Yet she made it sound like she deserved to stay at the top-grade room, whereas he belonged at the low-grade room. Without thinking, he threw 50 spirit stones on the counter. "I need to rest. Hurry up and do the procedures." Seeing that Yimo was ignoring her, the woman raised her eyebrow. She was about to rage, but the dark-skinned young man quickly went to him and saluted him with his fists before taking out 10 middle-grade spirit stones and said politely, "Sorry, big brother, please help me out." "This is a small amount," but Yimo smiled and took back the middle-grade spirit stones and his own coins and gave 8 low-grade spirit stones to the receptionist. "On this brother's account, I'll stay in the low-grade room." Chapter 864, Acquire Star Sand. Chapter 864, Acquire Star Sand. The red-clothed woman saw Yimo take the spirit stones and smiled contemptuously. She was just about to mock Yimo when the dark-faced young man said, "Sir, since this big brother doesn't want the top-grade room, can you give it to us?" The waiter had no objections. He gave the top-grade room to the man and woman. Seeing Yimo leave, the woman scorned, "Poor piece of *T, how can you even dream about staying at the top-grade room?" Yimo heard this but pretended he hadn't. He didn't even want to look back. Meanwhile, That dark-faced man shook his head helplessly. The woman saw this and cursed, "You Ruyu, why are you shaking your head? If you don't want to be with me, then *ss off." The man carefully replied, "Haidan, uncle said that there are many masters in the cultivation realm. We should try not to offend people outside." Me. The woman went into the room and ignored the young man. Although it was a low-grade room, Yi Mo was very satisfied. It didn't have a spirit-gathering formation, but it had everything else. It still had quite plenty of spirit kai due to the nearby spirit-gathering formations. The 8 spirit stones were worth the money. Yi Mo immediately started to cultivate. He made a few more defense formations and took a few benefit essence pills. Yi Mo's power caused a big commotion. It formed a huge spirit kai swirl, but luckily, there were a lot of high-level cultivators in all the nearby hotels and they all didn't want to waste time. So, although Yi Mo caused quite a commotion, it wasn't very eye-catching. 6 hours later, Yi Mo felt his meridians expand once again, and after a light crack, the cultivation essence in his body expanded like dividing cells. It was almost twice as strong as before, as it spread to all corners of Yi Mo's meridians before gathering at his dantian again. Yi Mo rejoiced. He had reached foundation establishment state middle stage. He took out tens of top-grade spirit stones without thought and started to use them for consolidation. He wouldn't mind if he had to take out all of his spirit stones for cultivation. Yi Mo felt that not only had he gotten back all the essence blood he had burnt, but his spirit senses range also could reach tens of kilometers more. Yi Mo got up and cleaned the dirt off his body. He no longer felt tired, so he used his spare time to take out 9 transformations. He simply spirit-controlled it and walked out of his room. Not far away, Yi Mo saw Yu Ruyu sitting at the doorway meditating. Without giving it too much thought, Yi Mo realized that it must have been that rude girl not letting him in. Yi Mo had a good impression of Yu Ruyu. Although that Haidan was pretty, she didn't deserve the dark-faced young man. "Brother Yu, if you don't mind, you can stay for the night at my place," Yi Mo walked up to Yu Ruyu and said. He had finished his cultivation and didn't have anything to do. Yu Ruyu saw that Yi Mo was walking over to him and talking. He couldn't pretend he didn't see Yi Mo anymore, so he got up awkwardly and said, "Big brother, hello, I appreciate your goodwill but I can't." Yi Mo smiled and didn't try persuading Yu Ruyu. He was just about to leave when he heard Yu Ruyu ask, "Big brother, you're also here for the auction, right?" Yi Mo nodded. "Yes, I want to see if there is any star sand or segmented earth. And my name is Yi Mo. Just call me Yi Mo from now on." Yu Ruyu heard this and said in shock, "Top-grade star sand and segmented earth is very expen." Yu Ruyu stopped halfway, realizing that some things weren't appropriate to say out loud. However, Yi Mo knew that the reason Yu Ruyu was so polite to him was primarily due to his character, but also due to the fact that Yu Ruyu couldn't tell how strong he was. Yi Mo laughed. "I don't need top-grade, just ordinary ones." After thinking for a moment, Yu Ruyu suddenly pulled out a fist-sized ore and gave it to Yi Mo. "I randomly got this low-grade chunk of star sand. Do you have any use for it, brother Yi?" Yi Mo hadn't thought Yu Ruyu would have star sand. Even low-grade star sand wasn't easily found. Yi Mo grabbed the star sand and looked at it carefully. It was low-grade star sand indeed, and it wasn't big. However, it was enough for Yi Mo already. After confirming this, Yi Mo quickly thanked him. "Thank you, brother Yu. This is what I want. Please, name a price." Yu Ruyu saw that he had given Yi Mo what he needed, so he said happily, "Brother Yi, I got this by chance. It has no use for me. If you need it, just take it. No need to talk about money." Yi Mo was dazed. He had only met Yu Ruyu twice. They were just strangers. Why did he still choose to give him the star sand? Seeing this, Yu Ruyu quickly said, "I have a good impression of Brother Yi and your power is great. My companion offended Brother Yi, but Brother Yi didn't mind. So I want to give this to you. I hope you will take it." Yi Mo realized that Yu Ruyu couldn't see his power level. He thought that he was a golden core state cultivator. Haidan had cursed him and Yi Mo had heard it for sure, but he still didn't care about it. This made Yu Ruyu very grateful. Yu Ruyu seemed to want to connect with him. Yi Mo heard this and quickly waved his hand. "Brother Yu, you might have seen wrong. My power level isn't as strong as yours. This piece of star sand is low grade, but it's still worth a lot. I don't feel comfortable taking it without paying you. Yuruyu heard this and was shook. He was just at Foundation Establishment State Level 7, but he could see through Golden Core State Primary Stage cultivators. However, he couldn't see through Yimo at all. He had to come from a big sect. Seeing that Yuruyu wasn't going to take the spirit stones no matter what, Yimo just accepted the star sand and took out 2 more chairs. He then started chatting with Yuruyu. After introducing each other, Yimo realized that Yuruyu really had big background. He was the core disciple of a 5-star sect, the Godsword sect. His father was the previous sect leader and the current Grand Elder. Yimo didn't ask about his father's power. It was at least nascent soul state peak or even hollow spirit state. Haidan came from the duo Heart Valley, which also a 5-star sect. The parents of both parties had sent the 2 of them to the auction to also experience the world a bit. Yuruyu came from a 5-star sect, but he was very polite and humble. This reminded Yimo of the 5-star West Flow sect's young master, Shinjensheng. He was beyond cocky, and if they hadn't transmigrated, he and Luo Ying would have died in his hands. He even annihilated their sect. Yimo had endless killing intent when thinking about Shinjensheng. Yuruyu, how can you be so shameless? Connecting with any random piece of trash. You're making me lose all my face, a crisp voice sounded. Haidan was standing at the door. Chapter 865, The Person Who Bought the Core Building Grass. Chapter 865, The person who bought the core building grass. The night had passed, lost in their conversation, and it was daytime. Yuruyu heard Haidan's words and quickly said to Yimo, "Sorry, brother Yi." Yimo smiled calmly. He wasn't going to care about what that woman said on Yuruyu's account. He waved his hand. "Brother Yu, as a friend, I'll give you a word of advice, there's plenty of fish in the sea." Then, Yimo turned away to leave. Yuruyu understood this and Haidan heard it too, but by the time she reacted, Yimo had already left. Haidan's pretty face was red with anger. Although she looked down on Yuruyu, her pride had been hurt being called not worth it. She couldn't exert her anger on Yimo, so she kicked Yuruyu on the chest. Yuruyu didn't dare dodge and was kicked many meters away. He fell down the stairs. Yimo saw this scene with his spirit sense and shook his head. Yimo put on 9 transformations and changed into a middle-aged man before heading to the auction. The auction was quite busy indeed. The entrance was filled with people. There were no limitations, so you could go as long as you had spirit stones. The entrance fee was 1,000 low-grade spirit stones. People could sit anywhere they wanted, but 10,000 spirit stones was the price for a simple room, 100,000 spirit stones for a high-level room, and 300,000 for an extremely grand room. Yimo simply spent 10,000 low-grade spirit stones for a simple room. The room was simple, but Yimo was happy with it after going inside. It wasn't small and one could see the auction board through the display formation. There was no room service though. If you wanted a female cultivator to serve you, you needed to go to the 100,000 spirit stones rooms or higher. Yimo scanned his spirit sense out carefully and found that he could only see the people sitting in open space, but no one from the rooms. Yimo also found out that the higher level rooms had better spirit sense shielding formations. Yimo immediately wondered whether he should make a better spirit sense shielding formation. He had the skills and materials. Just at this moment, a strong spirit sense scanned into his room and went through him without any pause. The spirit sense was very strong. It was from an at least nascent soul state cultivator. However, from the way he scanned everyone's room without concern, Yimo could tell that this person could be at hollow spirit state already. Yimo didn't hesitate and started building a spirit sense shielding formation. He didn't want people scanning his room so easily. In about 15 minutes, Yimo finished a simple spirit sense shielding formation. This formation couldn't block hollow spirit state spirit senses, but together with the original formation of the room, it was enough to block nascent soul state spirit senses. The auction had started now, so Yimo had to stop making more formations. He had made up his mind to make some more formation discs in his spare time. With that, He could just take one out and use it, instead of working on everything from scratch. As soon as Yimo sat down, a few more spirit senses scanned over, but they were all blocked by his formation. It was as safe as a 300,000 spirit stones room now. A beautiful woman in her 30s got up on the stage and smiled at everyone. This auction is held by the Nanshan market. You and Ming Qianbei, as well as me, will be hosting the auction. I'm Liu Yang. I hope everyone can get what you want from this auction. We will be using middle-grade spirit stones for everything, so please make bids using middle-grade spirit stones. Okay, let's get started. Yimo noticed that the woman was at least at Golden Core State Tertiary stage. Yimo didn't dare study the two old men behind her. From their temperament, they were at least nascent soul state cultivators. The Nanshan market was powerful indeed. Anyone could kill him easily. Yimo didn't scan other rooms because he knew there wouldn't be anyone weaker than him. Liu Yang knocked with the mace-like artifact and said, "Everyone, the first item of the day is gung metal essence. The starting bid is 10,000 middle-grade spirit stones. Each increment must be no lower than 1,000. Liu Yuan raised the piece of gung metal essence. It was the size of 2 fists. Yimo sighed. The one he had bought from the small world was the size of a basket, yet he had bought it with just some gold. Gung metal essence had a wide variety of uses. It could be used to make spirit and magic artifacts. Soon, it was bought for 15,000 spirit stones. The next 2 items were spirit artifacts, both sold for more than 50,000 middle-grade spirit stones. Yimo realized that he was lucky to have found Li Chongsheng's ring, or he wouldn't have been able to buy anything with his earnings. When a spirit-grade level 2 cultivation method was sold for 500,000 spirit stones, the crowd was rowdy. Yimo realized that he had rejoiced too early. He only had about 2 million middle-grade spirit stones and 10 million low-grade spirit stones. That was more or less 3 million middle-grade spirit stones in value. Yimo could only hope that segmented earth wasn't too expensive, or he wouldn't be able to afford it. Now, we're going to auction one of the most sought items in this auction. You guessed it. The core building grass. Its starting price is 1 million. Each increment must be no less than 10,000. With this, the scene went wild. Yimo could only sigh. He couldn't fight for it at all. Core building grass was one of the main ingredients for the cultivation increasing pill. It was very rare. It was a level 5 spirit herb. The cultivation increasing pill was a pill for foundation establishment state peak cultivators to reach golden core state. There were a few pills that could also do the same, but the cultivation increasing pill was undoubtedly one of the best. The only difficulty was that it required a level 7 spirit pill master to make it. There was only one level difference between spirit level 6 and 7, but some people would never be able to make this step in their entire lifetime. Yang Zheng was already very respectful to him for being a level 6 spirit pill master. If he knew that Yimo could make level 8 or even 9 pills, he would definitely treat Yimo significantly better. It was just a moment later and the price had already raised to 1.5 million. Yimo didn't bid at all, knowing that he couldn't afford it. There were many foundation establishment state cultivators in this auction, but it was the golden core state cultivators or even the nascent soul state cultivators increasing the price. They weren't buying it for themselves, of course. If their sect or family had one more golden core state cultivator, their power would increase significantly. 2 million, a coarse voice sounded. Yimo reached out his spirit sense carefully and found that the person who had claimed this price also came from a low-priced room. Chapter 866. Not enough spirit stones. Chapter 866. Not enough spirit stones. Yimo could tell from the voice belonged to a woman. Yimo couldn't scan his spirit sense in, as it could shield golden core state spirit senses or lower. No one bid for the core building herb after such a huge rise, and the woman eventually got it. Yimo was regretful. If he had known that woman, perhaps he could have negotiated with her to make the cultivation increasing pill and they could have gotten half-half. After the herb, the next few items were ordinary, so the audience gradually calmed down again. The next auctioned item is a stool of unknown origin. No one knows what this seat is made of. I can only tell it's something special. I hope the buyer is lucky. If anything goes wrong, the auction holder will not be responsible. The starting bid is 100,000 spirit stones. Each increment must be no less than 10,000. Liu Yarrow placed a stone stool on the table. It seemed difficult to handle and heavy. However, Yimo almost jumped up in excitement. The stone stool in his ring had started shaking as soon as Liu Yarrow took it out. He had found the stone stool in the small world. He got the first one from Master Tianziyi, who had left it behind accidentally. He still couldn't understand what it was. The audience fell silent. Even the nascent soul state cultivators weren't hustling to get their spirit stones out. No one wanted to spend 100,000 to buy something that they didn't know what it was. 110,000, someone finally made a bid after the silence. 130,000, it seemed like someone was taking the lead and it led to a round of biddings. 150,000, 170,000. It had just been moment, but the price had already gone over the 200,000. Yimo was desperate. He knew he had to make a bid 500,000. Yimo called. Yimo forgot that the more desperate he was, the more people would think this thing was relevant. 600,000, someone else bidded. Yimo was shook. He realized that there were too many wealthy people there. His wealth really wasn't anything compared to theirs. Even Yimo stopped. He could tell now wasn't the time to bid, he had to wait until the audience calmed down. Liu Yang hadn't expected the stone stool to reach this price. She smiled sweetly. This unknown stone stool has reached 600k. Someone must have realized this is some kind of treasure. Although I also want the bidder to tell us what it is, I know it's impossible. Yimo got furious at her when she suddenly said, okay, since one person recognized it, will a second person also recognize it? It's 600,000 now. Is there a higher price? There's only one opportunity. However, no one else made a bid and the scene fell silent for a while. Liu Yang then said, first time for 600,000. Any more bids? Second time someone called, 700,000, 750,000, 800,000. Soon, the new round of bids brought up the price to 1 million. Yimo didn't care that much about the herb from before, but he really cared about the stone stool. He believed it was very extraordinary. He would feel very regretful if he couldn't get it. The price stopped at 1 million. Liu Yarrow was very satisfied with her persuasive skills. Okay, 1 million, first time. Is there a higher price? If not, you'll be missing out on the fortune the stone stool may bring you, Liu Yarrow said. 1 million, Yimo calmed down and said. 2 million, the previous bidder called seemingly unhappy. Yimo reached out his spirit sense, but he couldn't penetrate the room of the bidder. At the same time, tens of spirit senses scanned over to Yimo, wanting to see what sort of a bidder he was. Yet what shook them was that although this cultivator had the lowest grade room, their spirit sense couldn't penetrate it. 21 million, Yimo added. 3 million. 31 million, Yimo added again. 5 million. 51 million. It seemed both parties were angry. Liu Yang kept making remarks to spice up the feud between the two bidders. When Yimo called out 51 million, the cultivator finally raged and roared, 3 million. If you still want to bid, it's yours. I'm the Hidden Sword Sect's Fei Zijiang. I'd be very happy if you got the stone stool. Yimo fell silent. He wasn't threatened by Fei Zijiang, but he only had 3 million spirit stones. Yet now, he had no option but to watch Fei Zijiang get the stone stool. Yimo also realized about the importance of spirit stones while improving his power. Although he was rather wealthy for a foundation establishment state cultivator, his spirit stones were nothing compared to the truly wealthy people. Both of the things he had wanted to buy were taken. Seeing that Yimo wasn't bidding anymore, everyone assumed that Yimo was scared of Fei Zijiang since the Hidden Sword Sect was almost as strong as a 5-star sect. Fei Zijiang was very unhappy that he had had to spend 3 million to buy the stone stool. After the auction, he would teach that guy a lesson. Despite not having gotten the stone stool, Yi-Mo had found out that Fei Zijiang was from the hidden sword sect, so he made up his mind. Once he had enough power, the first place he would go to would be the hidden sword sect. He must get the stone stool. Even Liu Yang hadn't expected that some random stone stool would get sold for 3 million middle-grade spirit stones. It was the highest priced item of the auction so far. Chapter 867, Rusty Hacking Sword. Chapter 867, Rusty Hacking Sword. Liu Yang then took out a cultivation method and said, "This is a sword ability called Illusion Cloud, but it's incomplete. There's only a third of it left and its grade is unclear." Illusion Cloud? Yi-Mo heard this and remembered the Li family's sword ability. If it was, then he didn't have any use for it. He had even gotten a jade slip after killing Li Changsheng that recorded the Illusion Cloud 6 strikes. He couldn't even be bothered looking at it. Liu Yang said, "Only the last third of the sword ability remains. It has been impossible to cultivate it so far. The starting bid is 20,000 spirit stones. Each increment must be no lesser than 1,000. Yi-Mo thought about it. Did the Illusion Cloud sword ability not come from the Li family but from somewhere else? The Li family's one was incomplete too. Yi-Mo had had a close-up experience with the power of the Illusion Cloud 6 strikes. It was no weaker than 3 birth sword ray. The whirlpool sword Kai Li Bai Sen had used was very hard to defend against. If Yi-Mo hadn't had the 3 birth sword ray, he might have not been able to stop it. However, Yi-Mo wasn't interested in it because it was a single-edged sword ability, not double-edge. 21,000. Yi-Mo bid again. He still wanted to know if this one was connected to the one he got. Most cultivators cultivated double-edged sword abilities. This sword ability was incomplete and it was the latter part, which couldn't be cultivated, so no one bidded after Yi-Mo made a bid. Eventually, the sword ability became his. When Yi-Mo got the sword ability and checked it, he found it was the last 3 strikes of the Illusion Cloud 6 strikes. He rejoiced. It had been so worth to buy it for 21,000 spirit stones. It was really called the Illusion Cloud 9 strikes. Yi-Mo felt that if he learned the Illusion Cloud 9 strikes, his battle power would increase to a rather terrifying state. The complete version was 10 times stronger than the incomplete version. His flying sword was too low level, however. After getting the sword ability, Yi-Mo decided to get a good single-edged sword. The following items were of no interest to Yi-Mo. There were spirit herbs and ores that even nascent soul-state cultivators needed, but it wasn't something Yi-Mo could afford. Yi-Mo only bought one more thing, which was 10 pieces of a level 4 spirit herb, the yin lian flower. It was a supplementary ingredient to the stalagmite benefit pill, but only that costed tens of thousands of spirit stones. Just when Yi-Mo thought he was going to have to wait longer, Liu Yang took out a piece of segmented earth. "Everyone, we're going to auction a block of segmented earth. Everyone knows it's ideal for setting up formations. Many people also use it to forge artifacts. This is a low-grade kind of segmented earth, but it's still very valuable and I believe everyone knows this. The starting bid is 300,000 spirit stones. Each increment must be no lower than 10,000. 500,000. Yi-Mo heard Fei Zijiang bid almost instantly 510,000. Yi-Mo bid without thinking. Yi-Mo still had about 2.9 million spirit stones now. When Yi-Mo bidded, everyone was dazed. They had seen Yi-Mo surrender when Fei Zijiang told everyone about his sect, yet now Yi-Mo was bidding against him again. Everyone had realized by now that Yi-Mo wasn't afraid of Fei Zijiang's identity, he had just wanted to make Fei Zijiang spend more money. Perhaps there was conflict between the two men. Yi-Mo and Fei Zijiang were capable of easily bidding millions of spirit stones, so when they started competing, many people left. The piece of segmented earth was low-grade and it could only be used for formations. Yi-Mo's bids made Fei Zijiang very angry. He had thought not long ago that Yi-Mo was afraid of him, but now it seemed like he was a clown. That man was bidding 10,000 extra each time to toy with him, making him spend more money. Perhaps that person was laughing at how stupid he was. Very well, 600,000. Fei Zijiang's cold voice sounded. 610,000, Yi-Mo said calmly. He was also annoyed at Fei Zijiang, who took what he wanted every time. 700,000, 710,000, 800,000, 810,000. It was just Yi Mo and Fade Zijiang bidding. Each time Fade Zijiang made a bid, Yi Mo would add 10,000 to it. Everyone was enjoying this show. It was not a fight for the piece of segmented earth, but two cultivators taking out their anger on each other. But Yi Mo knew he wasn't. Well, very well. Fade Zijiang clenched his teeth and said when the bid was at 1.01 million. The chunk of segmented earth became Yi Mo's. It was considered quite lucky that Yi Mo could get it for 1.01 million. This was mainly due to their seemingly personal feud over it. Or else, the piece of segmented earth might have been sold for even 2 million. Yi Mo was prepared to leave once he got segmented earth. The next item is a level 6 beast core. That was also rare, but Yi Mo knew he couldn't afford it either. Hence, he left the auction. At the same time, Yi Mo felt Shadowless wake up. It hadn't grown much bigger, but the golden patch on his back had grown larger. Yi Mo rejoiced. On a certain degree, he needed Shadowless. Its power was very well hidden, yet strong. Yi Mo went to a corner and stayed there for a long while. When he was sure that no one was following him, he changed his clothes and face. The auction went on for 2 more days, so when Yi Mo went back, the marketplace was still very busy. Yi Mo walked around the market. He was planning to go back to China Pharmaceuticals. Do you want 500 spirit stones for this crappy sword? I have 90 low-grade spirit stones here. If you want to sell it, I'll take it. A voice caught Yi Mo's attention. 2 male cultivators were carrying a huge rusty hacking sword and arguing. The stall owner was an old man in his 60s. He was only at Kai Gathering level 9. Yi Mo shook his head. That rusty sword wasn't even worth 90 spirit stones, much less 500 spirit stones. Yi Mo was about to walk away when he suddenly felt something wasn't right. The 2 buyers were Foundation Establishment State cultivators. Couldn't they tell it was not worth the money? Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense on the rusty sword. Chapter 868, Counter Rob. Chapter 868, Counter Rob. Soon, Yi Mo realized that it was a very ordinary hacking sword, but there was something inside the sword that blocked out spirit sense. There were also tens of formations around this spirit sense shielding formation. Yi Mo believed he had quite a good understanding of formations, yet he couldn't tell the type of a single one of them. The old man heard this and put away the sword before saying, "Sorry, Qianbei, this sword has been passed down by my ancestors. If it wasn't for the fact that I don't have a descendant nor have a way to reach Foundation Establishment State, I wouldn't sell this sword." Yi Mo walked up to the stall and took the sword. "I'll have a look." Yi Mo didn't even look at it and just gave the old man 500 spirit stones. "I like this sword. I'll take it. These are your 500 spirit stones." When the old man grabbed the spirit stones in a daze, one of the Foundation Establishment State cultivators stopped Yi Mo and said, "Friend, we saw this sword first. What right do you have to buy it?" Yi Mo smiled plainly. "That's really strange. I clearly saw you to bargain and pay 90 spirit stones, but the stall owner agree. Is there something wrong with me buying it from him for a price he likes?" They were a level 3 and a level 5 Foundation Establishment State cultivators. Yi Mo didn't care at all. He made his power seem like it was at Foundation Establishment State level 3. He was afraid that the 2 cultivators wouldn't go out and look for him later on. If they did, he would be able to figure out some stuff. His spirit sense was at false core level. He could see what the 2 Foundation Establishment State cultivators might not be able to see. Since the 2 men couldn't see the spirit sense shielding formation inside the sword, why did they want it? That's what Yi Mo wanted to know. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to find him if he didn't want them to. The level 5 cultivator sneered, "According to you, no one needs to bargain. You can just take what you want with money while people are still discussing business." Then, he looked around to the crowd watching and saluted with his fist. "Friends, is that how things work? I was discussing business with this stall owner, but this guy threw 500 spirit stones and just took the sword. How does he know I wasn't going to pay 500 spirit stones? I was planning on taking out 500 spirit stones. We should respect the order based on who came first, right? No one dared intervene. Whoever had more money deserved the sword. Everyone knew that this Foundation Establishment State cultivator hadn't been planning on taking out 500 spirit stones. Imo suddenly laughed. Let's say you're right. Then I will earn a lot when I go to an auction. When something comes out, I will make the first bid. According to your logic, I made the first bid, so everyone else won't bother making bids because the item belongs to the first bidder. Your logic really makes sense. Everyone started laughing. Although Yimo had bent the truth a little, it was still reasonable. The Foundation Establishment State cultivator's face was red. He sneered, "People can compete within auction. You didn't even give me the chance to make a bid. You just took it and left." Yimo's face suddenly became serious and he nodded. "You're right, very well. You can start bidding. I bid 500 spirit stones. If you make a higher bid, then it's yours." The Foundation Establishment State cultivator was dazed. He hadn't thought Yimo would suddenly be so easy to talk to and let him bid. But just after a moment of hesitation later, he said, "I bid 550. No matter what, he had to get the sword." Yimo said, 1,000. The two cultivators didn't expect Yimo to add this much at one time, but they still gritted their teeth and bid 1,100. 2,000. Yimo knew he had reached his goal when he bid 2,000. The two men saw Yimo casually add 1,000 spirit stones and realized that it was pointless for them to keep raising the price. Yimo was only at level 3 Foundation Establishment State, but he was already very wealthy. Moreover, that sword, the two cultivators glanced at each other and didn't speak. Yimo could be certain now that they would follow him. Yimo gave the stall owner another one. 500 spirit stones and left. The two men also left and Yimo walked in the opposite direction. They went into a quiet room and started to change their appearance. The level 3 cultivator said worriedly, "Marshall brother Gu, that guy is at Foundation Establishment State at such a young age and he had so many spirit stones. Do you think he might have a big origin?" The Marshall brother Gu sneered, "What do you think? If he had a big origin, would he use a storage bag? He probably just had some fortune. That hacking sword concerns our future. We must not let him go, no matter what. Moreover, he's only at Foundation Establishment State primary stage. I can kill him easily." Yimo left the market casually and flew away on his flying sword slowly. As expected, after flying approximately 30 kilometers away from market, he noticed the two Foundation Establishment State cultivators, but they were wearing masks. But without special magic artifacts to change their kai, spirit sense could easily scan through their masks. Yimo didn't go very fast, but the two men were patient. They sped up to stop Yimo after he was more than thousands of miles away from the market. "What do you two want?" Yimo's face didn't change at all. The level 3 cultivator sneered, "Nothing, you took what you shouldn't have. Kid, give us everything and perhaps we might let you live." Yimo laughed. There was some story to that sword indeed. His power level suddenly rose and surpassed level 4. With his power cultivation essence and spirit sense, he could easily imitate the power level of a Foundation Establishment State tertiary stage cultivator. The two men had thought Yimo was just some ordinary Foundation Establishment State primary stage, but now Yimo's power level had drastically risen. They were quickly forced back by Yimo's power. "You're a false core cultivator," the level 5 cultivator called out in shock. He had realized that they had been baited by this cultivator. Yimo didn't waste time talking. He sent out his flying sword and tens of sword ray shot out. He also released Shadowless. Yimo's sword ray pulverized the level 5 cultivator's shield. The next moment, Shadowless was draining the essence blood of the man. All of this happened in an instant. By the time the level 3 cultivator reacted, he could only run away. However, he had just taken a step and Yimo was already standing in front of him. Chapter 869, I'm here to watch the show. Chapter 869, I'm here to watch the show Qianbei. I was lured here to stop Qianbei by Jiu Yuhua. I'm willing to give you everything I have just so Qianbei can have mercy on me. The level 3 cultivator had seen Yimo kill his companion instantly and realized the difference between them was too great. Yimo said, "Tell me why you must have that sword. Is there something special about it?" Yimo sent out his flying sword again, covering the sky with sword rays, and waited to attack the level 3 cultivator. The cultivator, who had wanted make a deal with Yimo, shivered at the scene. He couldn't understand how Yimo controlled the sword rays to this degree. He immediately said, "Qianbei, Jiyu Yuhua and I found the map of an ancient ruin. We've been there, but we couldn't go in. The key to the door is a hacking sword." Yimo asked, "So you're saying that the sword I just bought is the key? There are millions of hacking swords in the world. How can you be sure that this is the one?" "Qianbei, that hacking sword has 9 crevices. Ordinary hacking swords don't have as many meaningless crevices. The sword you bought happened to have them, so the level 3 cultivator was shaking. He didn't know if Yimo would let him go afterwards. Yimo hadn't really noticed the crevices until now. After perusal, Yimo noticed that each crevice had a different shape and inside the crevice there were formations hidden inside. "Where is the map?" Yimo asked. "Inside Jiyu Yuhua's storage bag," the cultivator didn't dare lie and quickly replied. Yimo searched Jiyu Yuhua's bag and indeed found an ancient map inside. Yimo studied the map and realized that he had been there. It was at the All-Herb Mountain Ranges. "All-Herb Mountain Ranges," Yimo murmured. Yes, the Foundation Establishment State Master quickly replied, wondering what Yimo would do to him as he had no value anymore. Yimo wasn't going to be generous. If he hadn't been a match for the 2 men, they wouldn't have let him live. Hence, he also didn't have any reason to let them live. Moreover, the sword and the map were all secrets. He wasn't going to let go off a ticking bomb. Yimo immediately activated the sword rays to kill this Foundation Establishment State cultivator and then he took his storage bag. Yimo went on his flying pike, but he immediately realized that he shouldn't go back to River State immediately. He should go to some other place and set up the teleport formation before going back. 2 days later, Yimo arrived in an unknown mountain range 100,000 kilometers away from River State. He was planning on setting up the teleportation formation there because the furthest one he could make with the materials he had was of a 100,000 kilometers distance. Yimo found a distant valley in the ranges and opened up a cultivation cave. Inside, he was going to set up the teleportation formation. It took Yimo half a day to drill a hole in the valley, after which he started making formation flags. Luckily, he had already finished most of the flags. The main materials he needed to deal with were star sand and segmented earth. 3 days later, Yimo finished setting up the teleportation formation and left some pills and spirit stones in the stone room before leaving. He then walked out of the valley and rebuilt the valley to how it was before. Finally, Yimo could rest assured. Now he just needed to set up the other side of the portal inside China Pharmaceuticals. With that, even if he offended someone strong, he could take Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling and run away. Yimo left the valley and went on the flying pike, heading towards River State City. He had been gone for around 10 days and he was very worried. However, he hadn't gone very far when he scanned 4 figures. 1 at the front and 3 at the back, all rushing towards the mountains he was in. Yimo believed that ordinary people wouldn't be able to find his teleportation formation at all. He had large amounts of sound and spirit barrier formations in a spirit Kai arid valley. Hence, Yimo didn't care at all where they were going. They were 2 men and 2 women. The one at the front was a woman and seemed to be at Foundation Establishment State Peak Stage. The 3 people behind her were also all at Foundation Establishment State Peak Stage. One was nearly at False Core Stage. "Even if I die, don't think you'll get it," the woman called out in rage. Her voice was coarse and she had heavy injuries. Yimo heard this and realized that it was the woman who had bought the core building herb at the auction. Yimo immediately realized why these people behind were chasing her. He sighed. This woman had been too careless and had let people recognize her. It was very important to not let people recognize who you are after an auction. Fei Zijiang had told people who he was because he had a strong background and people would respect him instead. The core building herb was very rare, rarer than bitter 10 years. Yet, Yimo had now encountered it in such a barren place. There was no reason for him not to follow them and watch. With these thoughts, Yimo also followed them. The 4 cultivators immediately noticed this, and the woman ran even faster. The other 3 cultivators sneered. Yimo was a small mere foundation establishment state level 4 cultivator, but he dared join the party. He was asking to die. Yimo followed behind them. In half a day's time, they had already passed Yimo's formation. Although Yimo could catch up to them easily, he still stayed behind carefully. Yimo wasn't afraid of any one of them, but if they gang up against him, he would have to run. Seeing there were no more escape routes ahead, the female cultivator stopped and looked back. She brushed her messy hair back and stared coldly at the 3 pursuers, ignoring the level 4 man, Yimo. The other 3 cultivators also stopped, forming a semicircle around the female cultivator. Yimo stopped too and just stared at the group. Yimo then noticed that the woman who had gotten the herb looked like she was in her 40s, her skin condition wasn't very good. One could tell she had had a harsh journey of cultivation. She had average looks, but her body was very good. As for the 3 pursuers, one was a tall man who was more or less 2m tall and was nearly at false core state. But from his kai, Yimo could tell he was a far cry from Li Bai-sen. The other man was short and fat. He was at foundation establishment state peak stage. The woman was in her 30s and had a smile on her face. She was much prettier than the woman running. Seeing that the woman had stopped, the tall man said coldly to Yimo, "P***s off or die." Yimo sneered at the man and said in contempt, "Who do you think you are? I want to be here and watch the show. Do you have a problem?" Seeing a mere level 4 foundation establishment state cultivator dared curse at a false core state cultivator, the 2 people behind the man as well as the woman in front were dazed. They couldn't understand where Yimo got his courage from. Chapter 870, Escaping from Death. Chapter 870, Escaping from Death. "You're asking to die," the tall cultivator roared in fury, as his power drastically increased. He threw a stone drum at Yimo. It was the size of a basket when he first took it out, but when it reached Yimo's head, it had a circumference of 3m. It was so fast that it blasted through the air. The air below the drum seemed to have condensed, clearly due to the man's cultivation essence. This stone drum was at least a low-grade spirit artifact. The false core state cultivator couldn't form a kai field like a golden core state master would, but it was already similar. Low-level cultivators wouldn't even be able to escape the cultivation essence confinement, much less block the drum. The tall cultivator gave a lethal blow immediately, clearly wanting to kill that arrogant little cultivator as fast and bloody as possible. The female cultivator at the front was shook. She had just realized that this guy had never used his full power. The expressions of the man and woman who followed the tall cultivator also changed. They realized that their companion hadn't been using his full power all this time. He had been clearly hiding it for a dark purpose. The tall cultivator was angry, but he had also showed his power to exert his dominance. There was just one core building herb, and he exerted his dominance to imply that it would be his. However, Yimo was no ordinary foundation establishment state level 4 cultivator. He had killed Li Bai-sen, who was many times stronger than that tall cultivator, despite the help of the burst essence pill. However, Yimo had also gotten stronger now too. He had gained his power through his own hard work, and it was much easier to use than the power he had gotten from the pill. It could be said now that Yimo's power was the same as when he used the burst essence pill. With such dense cultivation essence, how could he be afraid of that false core state cultivator who was far inferior than Li Bai-sen? Yimo burst out his power and broke free from the strangling attack. The next moment, he had already sent out his flying sword. The sword ray went from tens to hundreds, until countless ones formed and clashed with the stone drum. Heavenly shaking rumbles sounded. The stone drum had been blocked and it couldn't drop down even an inch. In the beginning, the drum could pressure down a little. However, as the sword rays multiplied, it couldn't move at all, no matter how much spirit sense or cultivation essence the tall cultivator put into the drum. Yimo's sword ray was still multiplying and the newly birthed sword rays surrounded the drum. After some time, the stone drum would eventually be subjugated by the sword rays. That tall cultivator's expression changed greatly. He hadn't thought a mere foundation establishment state level 4 cultivator could be this strong, both in terms of spirit sense and cultivation essence. However, Yimo sighed. His flying sword was too low quality. He could only use a little more than half of his true power. If he had a high-level flying sword, he would have already struck the stone drum and even injured the cultivator. Yimo knew that he could succeed if he released Shadowless now, but before he was completely sure that he could kill the cultivator, he was going to hide his killing blow. Yimo and the tall cultivator were fighting equally, at least it seemed so. The other three cultivators' expression kept changing drastically. No wonder that foundation establishment state level 4 cultivator was so cocky. The tall cultivator looked at his two companions and yelled, "Hurry up and help me kill him. The sooner we kill him, the sooner we can do what we need to do." The two companions glanced at each other, but they didn't move. If they helped the tall cultivator now, the person to benefit from all of it would be him, not them. Seeing this, the tall cultivator was furious. He knew his actions had caused suspicion. Without thinking, he took out a rune from his storage bag and spat essence blood on it. Then, with a few more chants, it suddenly expanded. After a second, the sky was covered with lightning. The lightning sparks were the size of chopsticks. The lightning immediately gathered, forming a huge lightning field which surrounded Yimo. A level 6 lightning rune, the three people watching called out at the same time. Lightning runes were the hardest to make. The woman saw this and immediately started to run. She knew now was the best time. As soon as the lightning rune was taken out, the two companions realized that no matter how strong of a foundation establishment state cultivator Yimo was, he was dead for sure. The two cultivators immediately stopped the female cultivator from running and they started battling. The tall cultivator saw this and breathed at ease. He had wasted an extremely precious lightning rune, but it was nothing compared to the core building grass. Yimo was shook when he got surrounded by the lightning. He found out that he couldn't escape the lightning field no matter what. Soon, the lightning started to strike Yimo. The smallest lightning sparks had already started to burn Yimo's body and his cultivation essence was flying away quickly. The sword rays had now lost the upper hand. Yimo cursed, regretting to have underestimated his enemy. Even if he hadn't released Shadowless, he could have used Winter's Arrival. Yimo tried to divide some sword rays to block the lightning, but his efforts were in vain. His sword rays weren't able to stop the lightning and instead made it stronger. Seeing that his lightning rune had subjugated Yimo and that the stone drum was about to break free and smash Yimo into pulp, the tall cultivator laughed. Crack, crack, two more lightning rays struck Yimo's chest, shattering his armor and causing 2 deep gashes. Yimo was aware that if he didn't go into the Golden Page world and continued like this, he would be dead for sure. He took the last 3 Lotus Life pills and quickly used the 3 birth chant to recover. At the same time, he released Shadowless and Winter's Arrival. It was late, but he didn't have a choice. Crack, crack. 3 more lightning rays struck Yimo. However, just when Yimo was ready to receive an even heavier injury, he joyfully found out that if he used the 3 birth chant, the lightning rays would get absorbed by him. Had that really happened? Yimo knew he had a mutant lightning spirit root, but he couldn't learn lightning-style magic for some reason. Now, he was absorbing lightning power. Did that mean that lighting-style magic had to be cultivated in lightning? Yimo rejoiced and stopped Shadowless from attacking. He simply let the lightning strike him freely. Crack, crack. Yimo knew he was earning big with the 3 birth chant. He felt his lightning power getting stronger and stronger. Perhaps the next thing he needed to do was find a lightning-style attack. The tall cultivator could have never guessed that Yimo's wounds were gradually healing and his cultivation level was increasing. Chapter 871, Deal. Chapter 871, Deal. Yimo felt his power was increasing slowly. Ever since he had started cultivating the 3 birth chant, he was able to sense all 5 elements from his spirit kai and even control the wind element spirit power. However, he hadn't been able to control lightning and ice power. Thanks to the 2 eggs, he got ice power. And that way, the power he had happened to miss was lightning. However now, he could absorb the power from the lightning rune, allowing him to cultivate lightning style. This created balance amongst the elements in his body and caused his power to increase drastically in such a short time. When his lightning power was completely balanced with all other elements, the increase would slow down. Yimo realized that the spirit Kai in the world was mostly consisted of the 5 elements, but it had a really little amount of wind, ice, and lightning power. Hence, when he found a place to cultivate wind, lightning, and ice, his power would increase drastically. Yimo could feel his cultivation essence reach full capacity and break through a small barrier. Then, his cultivation essence and meridians expanded again. Foundation establishment state level 5. Yimo rejoiced. He hadn't thought he could break through amidst a battle. However, his biggest acquisition had been that he had found out what he needed to cultivate from now on. When Yimo was ready for more lightning strikes, he found that his surroundings had quietened down. All of the power of the lightning rune had been absorbed by him. That tall cultivator looked dazedly at Yimo, as though he had seen the most unbelievable thing. Yimo sent out his winter's arrival. The intense frigidness immediately confined the false core state cultivator. The man shivered and came back to his senses. He immediately realized things weren't good. Yimo wasn't going to give him time to break free. His flying sword formed countless sword rays again and instantly pierced the cultivator into a honeycomb. When the intense cold permeated, even the other cultivators started shivering subconsciously. They stopped at the same time, but they just saw Yimo's flying sword tearing the tall cultivator into pieces. The scene quietened down. Yimo slowly put a new set of clothes on himself before taking back winter's arrival. Then, he walked up to the tall cultivator casually and took his storage bag. Qianbei, Wanbei will leave. The short fat cultivator worriedly saluted Yimo with his fist and disappeared immediately. The other female cultivator also copied the man and flew away on her flying sword. Yimo didn't chase after them. Although he could have killed them, his main target was the cultivator with the core building herb. The woman saw Yimo wasn't chasing after the other 2 cultivators and instead set his gaze on her. Her expression looked bad. She knew she was Yimo's target. With Yimo's power, she would die if she fought him. Moreover, she was already heavily injured too. She had spent all her savings on this herb and in the end, it benefited someone else. She sighed. Seeing Yimo's decisiveness, she could tell that she would die if she didn't take it out. Perhaps, she was bound to stay at Foundation Establishment State her entire life. The woman hesitated for a moment before giving Yimo the herb. This is the core building herb, it's yours. Yimo smiled. If someone dared to try steal from him, he would steal from them in return and even kill them. Yet, he also really couldn't just steal someone else's belonging without a reason. He had his moral principles. Yimo smiled but didn't take it. You're right. I came here for the herb but I'm not here to rob it. I would like to make a deal. If you agree, you won't lose anything. The woman took back her hand in bewilderment. The herb was quite a fortune, no one would let this opportunity slide. She had long been living in the bottom level of the cultivation realm and she knew how evil and selfish people could be. She was dubious about Yimo's words. If she had been pretty, she would have thought Yimo had come for her body, but she knew she was very average. Also, no matter how pretty she was, the herb would be worth more than her. Yimo said, I'm a pill master, a level 9 spirit pill master. This time, she reacted fast and immediately said enjoy, you can make the cultivation increasing pill? Yimo nodded. Yes, I can and I have great confidence in it. The female cultivator understood now. She could tell that Yimo was one of those rare cultivators who didn't like stealing other people's things. She knew that Yimo had no reason to lie to her, she had nothing valuable to be tricked for. Even if Yimo only had 10% chance of success, she would have a try. Without thinking, the female cultivator gave the herb to Yimo. I didn't think you to be a pill master. I'm Jin Xiaoshan. If you can make the pill, then just give me one. Yimo took the herb and nodded. Don't worry, I will give you a pill for sure. I'm Yimo, the boss of River State City's China Pharmaceuticals. If you have nowhere to go, you can go there first. When I finish concocting the pill, you can go for Golden Core State there. Zhen Xiaoshan was shook by Yi Mo's words. She had thought Yi Mo would just give her a way to contact him and tell her to wait, but he was an actual pill shop boss. No wonder he could make pills. Having a safe place to reach Golden Core State was more important to her than anything. She immediately bowed and said, "Thank you, Brother Yi, I have no place to go." Yi Mo waved his hand. "I'm younger than you, just call me Yi Mo then." Yi Mo took off his mask. "This is my real face." Zhen Xiaoshan quickly asked, "What's wrong?" Yi Mo took a seed from the herb and said, "These people are really generous. They didn't even take away the core building herb's seed." Zhen Xiaoshan smiled and shook her head. The seed can only be collected before harvesting the herb. Otherwise, the seed would be useless. Even if it can be grown, no sect would spend 300 to 500 years to grow this herb. Yi Mo smiled and didn't answer. He took out a jade box and put the seed inside. His golden page world was very big now. He wanted to see if the golden page world could grow it. Chapter 872, The 6 Big Halls of Fame. Chapter 872, The 6 Big Halls of Fame. When Yi Mo took out his flying pike, Zhen Xiaoshan understood why he hadn't taken the herb too seriously. This flying spirit artifact was worth at least 1 million middle-grade spirit stones. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense into the city before he went in. When he found that China Pharmaceuticals formations were well and the shop was running normally, he breathed at ease. When Zhen Xiaoshan saw China Pharmaceuticals inside, she was shook even more. Yi Mo was younger than her, but he was a pill master and had such a grandiloquent pill shop at a place like River State City. When Yi Mo went in China Pharmaceuticals, Sheng Yizhong was working with a few attendants. The moment they saw Yi Mo arrive, all of them went up to greet him. "Brother Yi, you went to Nanshan Market indeed. I didn't think I would be lucky enough to meet you just when I was about to leave." Yang Zheng walked out of the shop accompanied by Su Yu. "Brother Yang Zheng, thank you," Yi Mo saluted with his fist. He was truly grateful to Yang Zheng. He had helped to look after China Pharmaceuticals when he was gone. If it hadn't been for Yang Zheng, he really wouldn't have dared to leave Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling there by themselves. Yang Zheng waved his hand. "Brother Yi, no need to be so polite. We're lucky to have your help. I need your help with something, but you must have a lot of things to do. I'll come back tomorrow." Yi Mo could feel that Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling were cultivating, so he was in no rush to see them. He said, "It's fine, we can talk about it now." Then, Yi Mo said to Su Yu, "Xiao Yu, take Zhen Xiaoshan to rest. She'll be one of us from now on." Zhen Xiaoshan was going to stay at China Pharmaceuticals for at least half a year, so he told Yang Zheng that she was a new recruit. Seeing the two women leave, Yang Zheng then said, "Brother Yi, I would like to know how long it would take you to concoct a level 7 spirit pill. If you can make it within half a year, we can provide you with some help, but of course, if you know a level 7 spirit pill master, that would be even better." Yi Mo knew that although Yang Zheng had asked if he could reach level 7 in half a year, his real intention was to ask if he knew any level 7 pill masters. It was just a 1-level difference, but the gap was too great. If one could cross this gap in half a year, then there would be many level 7 masters in the world. Yang Zheng was asking about his non-existent master. If he could teach a level 6 pill master, then he might have other disciples that were at level 7. Seeing that Yi Mo wasn't speaking anymore, Yang Zheng knew that Yi Mo had understood what he was implying. He said awkwardly, "Have you heard about the 10 secret lands?" Yi Mo shook his head. Yang Zheng said, "I only know about the Yunzhen Palace and the Desert Herb Valley." The Yunzhen Palace? Yi Mo was shook because he had actually heard about it. When he used to be a part of the East Black State's magical herb sect, he had heard that there were countless fortunes in the Yunzhen Palace. It would open every 30 years and cultivators less than 100 years old could go in, regardless of how powerful they were. The difference in power of those who went in was huge. Some geniuses even reached nascent soul state at the age of 100, so the palace was also very dangerous. Those who went in were usually at Golden Core State Cultivator. Rarely any Kai Gathering or Foundation Establishment State Cultivator would try it. However, there were limited spots, so the requirements were very strict. Yimo only knew that 5-star sects and above had spots to go in. The magical herb sect was a 4-star sect, so they didn't have the right to go in. You've also heard about the Yunjin Palace? Yang Zheng asked. Yimo nodded. I've heard people talk about it before. It's said to be very hard to get into. Yang Zheng nodded. Yes, it hasn't opened yet, but even if it does, we won't meet the requirements to go in. Those who go in are prodigies and some powerful cultivators. I'm talking about the other secret land, the Desert Herb Valley. It also has limited spots. Yimo asked Yang Zheng, what does this got to do with a pill master? Yang Zheng replied, there are many spirit herbs in there, even the cow horn fruit. The North Far State has very limited resources, so all spirit herbs are a huge attraction to sects. By the way, do you know that Luoyu continent has 4 states? Yimo nodded. Yang Zheng realized that Yimo did indeed know a lot. Perhaps his master had told him all this. Yang Zheng continued, the Desert Herb Valley has many herbs, which means it has cultivation resources. Only 500 people can go in each time. People get sent outside if they're not among the first 500. So the sects have come up with a way to divide it. Other than the spots sects usually get, the extra ones have been split based on the 6 big halls of fame. All the sects who have someone on the 6 big halls of fame get 3 to 10 extra spots. The 6 big halls of fame are the Kai Gathering Hall of Fame, the Foundation Establishment Hall of Fame, the Golden Core Hall of Fame, the Forgery Hall of Fame, the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame and the Rune Making Hall of Fame. Yimo asked in bewilderment, why isn't there a Nascent Soul or a Hollow Spirit Hall of Fame? Or a Formation Hall of Fame? Yang Zheng smiled. The North Far State has a Hall of Fame for Nascent Soul State cultivators, but it's not called a Hall of Fame. It's called the Nascent Soul State 53 Kings. The number 1 king is a solo cultivator called Shu Chungjie. There's no ranking for Hollow Spirit State cultivators, but everyone has their own ranking. As for Formation Masters, there are too few people. Yimo then asked, do the big 6 Halls of Fame include the 50 best? Does that mean that if you're on the ranking, you can get more spots for your sect? Yang Zheng shook his head. It's not like that. If it were, then there wouldn't be enough spots. Each Hall of Fame has 100 people. Only the top 3 can increase spots for their sect. The only exception is for pill concoction. If you're in the top 10, you can get your sect 3 spots. Why? Yimo asked in confusion. Yang Zheng explained, that's because this secret land is mostly filled with spirit herbs. Only pill masters can fully utilize them. In half a year, the headquarters of the pill associations in the North Far State will hold a tournament for the Hall of Fame. After the tournament, the Desert Herb Valley will opens. Chapter 873, Genius. Chapter 873, Genius. Thinking about the substantial amount of herbs in the Desert Herb Valley, Yimo got immediately interested. He saluted Yang Zheng with his fist and said, Brother Yang, I understand. Don't worry, I can help you for sure, but I have one small request. Yang Zheng saw that Yimo agreed and immediately replied happily, tell me, Brother Yi. I'll do anything I can. Yimo nodded. I can probably help you get 3 more spots, but I want 1 spot for going into the secret land too. Will this be possible? Yang Zheng had already thought of this before he went to ask Yimo for help. Both Yimo and his master were pill masters, there was no way they wouldn't want a spot. Thinking about this, he immediately said, no problem, the requirement is that only those below Golden Core State can go in. It would be perfect for you to go in. Yimo was already at level 9 Spirit Pill Master. In half a year, he might even become a Pill King. Yimo was very confident in getting into the top 10 for the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame with his level of skills. After sending Yang Zheng off, Yimo went to see Li Yuqian. Li Yuqian's internal injuries had recovered. She was very happy with the cultivation environment there, so she had spent all her extra time teaching Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling wholeheartedly. Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling only went out for a moment, but they got to meet Yimo before going back inside to cultivate. Meanwhile, Li Yuqian waited on the side, as though she had something to tell Yimo. Li Qianbei, I believe I can make the cow horn pill in 3 months. If you can reach Golden Core State peak stage in that time, it would be perfect. Emo thought she was going to ask about the pills. Emo also wanted her to reach nascent soul state due to his plans. He was going to the desert herb plain in half a year. He would feel much more assured if there was a nascent soul state cultivator protecting Yi Ling and Song Yangzhu. Li Yuqian hadn't come for the pill, but she was still shook that it could be ready in 3 months. Li Yuqian shook her head and said, I have no way of reaching Golden Core State peak stage in 3 months unless I get the Qin Wen pill. Although I have the spirit herbs needed for the pill, I don't know any spirit pill master above level 7, so I don't have a way to make it. If your master comes, I want to ask your master for help. Emo understood what she meant. He thought of a while and then decisively said, Li Qianbei, please forgive me for not telling you the truth before. I'm actually a level 1 pill king myself. I said I can get you Cao Huan pill, not because my master will make it, but because I can. So, I can help Qianbei make the Qin Wen pill. What? You're a level 1 pill king? Li Yuqian stood up abruptly. She really didn't dare to believe Emo. How old was Emo? And he dared call himself a level 1 pill king? Was he crazy? Emo understood her shock. If he hadn't been cultivating the 3 birth chant, he wouldn't have believed he could reach pill king at such an age. He hadn't thought there would be such a powerful cultivation method in the world. It's like the original cultivation method from when the world was born. He knew that his ultimate achievement could never be become a mere pill king. Although he hadn't really made a heaven-grade level 1 pill yet, he believed he could do it and he wouldn't need much time. The reason he wasn't too sure yet was because he hadn't had a pill to make. He had exaggerated his skills a little to assure Li Yuqian. Yes, I'm not crazy. I'm indeed a level 1 pill king, believe it or not, Emo said word by word. Li Yuqian really wanted to believe Emo, but his words were too absurd. Her expression became serious and didn't ask anything. She threw tens of herbs on the ground and said, then make the Qin Wen pill right now. I'll watch. Emo didn't object and simply took out his Shengnong cauldron. He had been using it for many years and it felt very comfortable. Although he hadn't completely spirit-controlled the cauldron, it was very effective with pill concoction. Seeing Emo smoothly control the cauldron with his spirit sense and send out cultivation fire, Li Yuqian could finally start to believe him. Not all the herbs on the ground were needed for the pill. Emo knew she had done this on purpose. Without thinking, he waved and more than 10 herbs separated the rest and fell into the cauldron. Li Yuqian saw this and nodded, feeling that Emo had some real capabilities. However, after seeing him just throw them inside without order, her expression looked a little bad. Even she knew that no matter what pill you were concocting, there was an order for putting the herbs in the cauldron. If you got it wrong, you would get a cauldron of ashes or the cauldron might even blow up. Emo had done this intentionally. He had chosen to show her his means and it wasn't going to be ordinary means. Li Yuqian's expression soon looked surprised. There was no smell of burned bits. Instead, the impurities of the herbs came out of the mouth of the cauldron. Tens of minutes went past and Li Yuqian realized that Emo's actions weren't slowing down at all. Instead, they became smoother and smoother. She was shook. Emo was only at Foundation Establishment State Level 5, but his spirit sense was even a little stronger than someone at False Core State. Li Yuqian carefully sent her spirit sense inside the cauldron and found that the herbs had been rapidly refined and ordered. With this, she could tell that Emo's skills were definitely at Pill King level. An hour later, the herbs had finished being refined into pure herbal liquid. Meanwhile, Emo controlled the liquid with his spirit sense while he kept pulling and stirring. Such rapid means. Emo hadn't finished making the pill, but Li Yuqian knew he definitely could. He refined the herbs in a little more than an hour, when usually it would take 4 hours. Moreover, Emo was using an ordinary cultivation fire. If he used another fire, wouldn't he be even better? Emo then weaved a few more pill signs and the liquid started to condense. Another hour later, the pill was gradually taking form and the aroma of the pill speed out. Ding, dong. 12 turquoise pills were pulled out and placed into a jade bottle. Qianbei, the pill is made. Have a look. Yimo gave the bottle to Li Yuqian. Li Yuqian subconsciously grabbed the bottle and poured one. She immediately gasped. Great quality, top-grade Qin Wen pills, and you even made 12 pills in a cauldron. You're a level 1 pill king indeed. Li Yuqian was shook. She knew what a level 1 pill king meant. In the North Far State, every pill king had a mass followers. There was one in front of her right now that was this young and made pills that fast. Genius. Yimo interrupted her thoughts. Li Qianbei, with this will you be able to reach Golden Core State peak stage in 3 months? Li Yuqian came back to her sense and quickly said, Yimo, although I'm older than you and I'm your wife and sister's master, you're a level 1 pill king. Just call me Sister Li. I'm sure I can reach Golden Core State peak stage with this in 3 months. Chapter 874, Pill King. Chapter 874, Pill King. At this moment, Li Yuqian had put Yimo on an equal or even higher status than her. The reality was that a pill king in the cultivation realm had a much higher status than a Golden Core State cultivator. Yimo rejoiced. Great. In half a year, I will still be needing your help, Sister Li. Li Yuqian had calmed down after the initial shock. Reaching Golden Core State tertiary stage at around the age of 60 was already proof of her talent. However, Li Yuqian used to believe she wouldn't be able to reach nascent soul state until she was 150 or 200 years old. Yet, fortune was something unexplainable and she had met Yimo. Instead of having to wait decades or even a century, she might be able to reach nascent soul state in less than half a year. Of course, in her eyes, her greatest fortune wasn't having gone to River State City and getting the pills, but the fact that she had met a pill king. Yimo was a pill king at such young age. He definitely could reach higher levels in time. What was the most important thing in cultivation? Resources, of course. And pills were the most important resource. Pills came from Pill Master. If you had a stack of spirit herbs, but not a pill master to concoct pills for you, they would be useless. It was no simple thing to know a pill king and make him concoct pills for you. She wouldn't even have been able to afford a pill king's concoction fees. They usually only accepted ordinary requests. They didn't do out of the ordinary items since it would waste their cultivation power. Thinking about how she used to look down on Yimo, she sighed. She understood what Yimo meant when he said he would be needing her help in half a year. She had also known what Yimo wanted her to do when he told her to stay at River State City in China Pharmaceuticals. He needed her to protect China Pharmaceuticals, and specially Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling. She had gone there because she really liked her 2 talented disciples and she had nowhere to go, as she was disappointed at the Zheng Yuan sword sect. Of course, another important reason was that Yimo had saved her life. But now, it seemed her decision had been very right. Even if Yimo told her to leave, she wouldn't leave. Unless she didn't want to reach higher cultivation states, she would never leave a pill king she knew. Don't worry, Yangzhu and Yi Ling are my disciples. I'm also used to living here. If you have something to do, then just do it. Leave China Pharmaceuticals to me. Li Yuqian expressed her intentions without hesitation. Yimo was very happy with her attitude and nodded in satisfaction. In that case, I won't disturb your cultivation anymore. I'm going to cultivate too. In 3 months, I will give you the cow horn pill. Li Yuqian nodded. Regardless of whether I can reach nascent soul state, I will treat China Pharmaceuticals as my own place. But I do have something to ask you something. Li Yuqian paused and said, the cultivation method you taught Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling isn't an ordinary one, right? If I'm not wrong, it's at least above spirit grade level 7. If it really is, then Li Yuqian looked worried. Yimo heard this and knew that Li Yuqian had realized what he was teaching them. It was to be expected. She was teaching them side by side and knew the way they ran their Kai meridians. Yimo didn't intend to hide it and just said, that's right. I was planning to tell you after you reached nascent soul state, but since you know, I'll tell you straight up. The cultivation method they are cultivating isn't at spirit grade nor even heaven grade. I don't know what exact grade it is at. Li Yuqian was shook again. Not even at heaven grade. What kind of notion was this? It was said that the highest graded cultivation method on Luoyu continent was only at heaven grade, at low-level heaven grade. Seeing her shock, Yimo said, "Sister Li, if you hadn't been their master and they hadn't been cultivate right in front of you, you wouldn't have noticed the grade of their cultivation method." Yimo knew what she was worrying about. If other people found out that they were cultivating a cultivation method at above heaven grade, the two women were dead for sure. Yet then again, if it wasn't someone really close to them, they wouldn't be cultivating in front of them in the first place. Moreover, not even Li Yuqian had managed to get it was at above heaven grade. Other people wouldn't be able to get it either. However, Yimo still decided to warn Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling later that they couldn't do this no matter what. "Sister Li, I was planning to give you this cultivation method after you reached nascent soul state," Yimo said. He really did plan to do so. It wasn't suitable for her to cultivate the primordial chaos chant right now, or she would have to spend large amounts of time converting her cultivation essence. However, if she reached nascent soul state, she could choose a new cultivation method. Li Yuqian looked dazedly at Yimo. "You were planning on letting me cultivate this cultivation method?" She really couldn't believe that Yimo would be willing to give this to her. Even if it were from father to son, it would be passed down very carefully. She was aware that she had to choose a new cultivation method when she reached nascent soul state because it was impossible to reach higher states with her current cultivation method. She had been troubled, as she didn't have a better cultivation method. Yet now Yimo was giving her such a big gift. Yimo smiled and said, "Sister Li, since you can teach what you know to Yi Ling and Yangzhu, I can teach you this." Li Yuqian knew Yimo was trying to tie them together, but she was still amazed by Yimo's magnanimity. Yimo knew that although the primordial chaos chant was really good, his three-birth chant was definitely much stronger than it. Once he reached a certain power, he could produce a new cultivation method based on all sorts of spirit roots. Li Yuqian calmed herself down and looked at Yimo. "Yimo, your pill concoction skills is the best I've seen. It's my fortune that I can come to China Pharmaceuticals, but I see that your skills are greatly limited by your pill fire. If you just use foundation establishment state-level cultivation fire, you won't be able to fully utilize your skills. If you had a good pill fire, your skills would be far superior than a level 1 pill king's." Yimo heard this and realized that he did indeed need a new one. He had thought of getting one before, but there was no big hurry. Yet now that he thought about it, he realized that he didn't need more concoction skills, but a strong pill fire. Chapter 875, Heaven and Earth Fire Seed. Chapter 875, Heaven and Earth Fire Seed. Li Yuqian saw Yimo's expression and she could tell that Yimo had understood this. "I know a place with fire seeds. It's said to be at the Changfen Hill. There's a leisure fire there. It ranked a little low, but it's already a rare treasure for fire-style cultivators. I got my Li fire feather from there, but I wasn't a fire cultivator so I didn't touch the fire seed." Fire seeds were not only helpful to pill masters, but also to fire element cultivators. If they have a rare fire seed, their offensive power and power level will be massively different than before. However, it was very hard to get rare fire seeds, according to what Yimo knew. There were 108 types of rare fire seeds in the world. It was said that the cultivation realm only contained 36 types. The leisure fire 1 ranked 29 of the 36 types, and it was near the very end of the 108 types general ranking. But even the last ranking rare fire seeds were insanely valuable. The Heaven and Earth fire seeds had a common property that other fire seeds didn't have, and that was potential growth. The speed of growth was based on their master's cultivation method and fortune, as well as fire element spirit items that they devour. In other words, if the worst ranked fire seeds grow to a certain extent, they can be more powerful than the fire seeds which ranked high before it. Pill masters also loved fire seeds. A good pill master must have a good fire seed. Without a Heaven and Earth rare fire seed, a pill master can never become a top-level pill master. Yimo had heard about the Changfen Hill. It was once a mortal city, but conflict between two big cultivation powers took place there. Both powers were very mighty and had a lot of allies. Eventually, more and more people died. It reached a point when most people forgot why they were even fighting and the place was completely destroyed. No one in the city was able to escape and the cultivators that died there were countless. Finally, the war gradually calmed down. Thousands of years later, most cultivators who were going to have a battle to death liked to resolve their conflicts there. Soon, the place became another name for graveyard. Yimo hadn't expected there would be a fire seed here. No one else could guess it either. Knowing that Yimo would be surprised, Li Yuqian took out a jade slip. She quickly drew a map on it saying, "I found this place out of luck. You will know once you go there." The leisure fire was left behind by a pill master. He died before being able to spirit control it. Yimo took the jade slip gratefully. Yimo knew how precious that heaven and earth rare fire seed was. If she sold it for money, she could get countless spirit stones. Li Yuqian breathed at ease after seeing him take the jade slip. She always owed Yimo and never helped him with anything. What is more, she was going to owe him even more in the future. Finally, she could help Yimo a little bit now. 3 days later, Yimo gave a cultivation increasing pill to Zhen Xiaoshan and she almost cried out of excitement. She hadn't been this excited even when she bought the core building herb, because she knew how hard it would be for that herb to turn into a pill. Yet now, she actually got the pill. Yimo understood her feelings. "Sister Zhen, you can stay at China Pharmaceuticals to form your core. The spirit Kai here is quite good. When you're at Golden Core State, you can choose to stay if you're willing," Yimo said. If China Pharmaceuticals had its own Golden Core State and nascent Soul State cultivators, then they would have the foundation to stand upright in River State City. Zhen Xiaoshan tried to calm herself down and she said word by word, "Brother Yi, it was my fortune that China Pharmaceuticals was willing to take me in. I swear that as long as you're still in China Pharmaceuticals, I will be a part of China Pharmaceuticals." Zhen Xiaoshan was no idiot. She had been a solo cultivator and now that she could follow a spirit pill master, her future was like heaven compared to before. Seeing this, Yimo rejoiced. He took out an essence benefit pill and gave it to her. "Use this bottle of pills to prepare for core formation. As for the spirit artifact and gears you need, I will get you these in half a year." After Zhen Xiaoshan left for solitary cultivation, Yimo took out the jade bottle and looked at it satisfyingly. He had concocted 6 pills of cultivation increasing pill and given one to Zhen Xiaoshan. He still had 5 left, which meant that Yi Ling, himself and the others didn't need to worry about pills all the way until Golden Core State. With the remaining time, Yimo helped the Immortal Treasure Tower concoct pills while concocting the pill he needed, the Stalagmite Benefit Pill. Yimo made this pill for the Ming Yuan pill. The way to the Changfen Hill shouldn't be too dangerous, but he still decided to go after reaching Foundation Establishment State Level 6. The Ming Yuan pill could help him reach that and with the Stalagmite Benefit Pill, there would be no side effects. A month later, Yimo reached Foundation Establishment State Level 6 with the help of these 2 pills. His cultivation essence was a lot stronger again. Although he really wanted to study the illusion cloud sword technique, he knew he really didn't have much time. He decided to go get the fire first. Once he got the fire, he would make the cow horn pill immediately. To him, the earlier Li Yuqian reached nascent soul state the better. He had broken the All-Pill Tower's branch store owner's son's leg, but they still hadn't gone to look for trouble with him. Although he knew it was Yang Zheng's doing, he had to make some preparations too. If that branch owner Lu Jiuqing reached nascent soul state and Li Yuqian didn't, then China Pharmaceuticals would be at a complete disadvantage. Yimo couldn't believe that a nascent soul state cultivator would let him go after he had broken his son's leg. Although a broken leg injury was nothing in the cultivation realm, if people wanted to look for trouble with you, even losing a strand of hair was an excuse. Before leaving, Yimo was also going to set up a teleportation formation. He didn't place it underground. The teleportation formation was for emergencies, and the more hidden it was, the less easy to access it. Hence, Yimo had decided to place it at where Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling were cultivating. Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling were both at Kai Gathering Stage 7 now. Their spirit route was very good and with adequate spirit Kai and pill supplies, their progress was very rapid. "Brother, are you going out again?" Yi Ling could tell that her brother was about to leave when he went to see them again. Song Yangzhu also looked worried. Yi Mo nodded. Yes, we must cultivate faster to be able to stand upright here. I'm going out to look for a fire seed and then help concoct pills for your master. In half year, I'm going away for a long time, so you guys need to work hard. Today I'm here to give you some pills and set up a teleportation formation here. A teleportation formation in our room? Yi Ling asked curiously. Yi Mo nodded. Yes, if you encounter strong cultivators that we can't beat, then escape through it. It will only recognize our spirit senses, other people won't be able to activate it. Chapter 876, Changfen Hill. Chapter 876, Changfen Hill. After Yi Mo set up the teleport and gave a few jade cards to Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling, he immediately left the city. He teleported out of the city and used the flying pike to travel for a day. Finally, at midnight, he arrived in the Changfen Hill. There was no one living there on radius of a few hundred kilometers. It was indeed a barren graveyard. This place didn't pose a threat for high-level cultivator, but for ordinary people, passing by this place almost meant death. The place had very strong yin kai, together with some strange beings and phenomenons. Yi Mo immediately felt a bleak kai in the place. It seemed lifeless, and even the plants on the ground looked very gnarled. The spirit kai there was a lot less strong than in other places. If there wasn't the occasional shriek of a vulture, Yi Mo would have thought this place was the underworld. Yi Mo's spirit sense had scanned around. This graveyard hadn't been artificially created. It had been formed by countless bones and remnant weapons. On the top, spirit fire could be seen everywhere. Yi Mo shook his head. He didn't understand why Liu Qian would have come here. It was not a good place for cultivation, and it couldn't have any rare items. He looked at the marking on the map and wanted to go there immediately when he felt something wasn't right. Ever since he had started cultivating 3 birth chant, his sixth sense was very acute. Yi Mo subconsciously hid himself. No matter who would come, Yi Mo didn't want people to know he was there to take the leisure fire. As soon as Yi Mo hid, a flying cart magic artifact landed at the frontiers of the place. It was soundless. If he hadn't had his sixth sense, he would have never found out about the cart's arrival. Yi Mo noticed that the cart was majestic. It seemed to be an extreme-grade magic artifact. Just when Yi Mo was about to check this extreme-grade magic artifact out, he had an extreme sense of danger. He had met countless dangers before, yet never one as strong as that day. It was a feeling of irresistible danger, as though no matter what he tried he would die for sure. Without thinking, Yi Mo immediately went into the golden page world and didn't dare move. After going in, Yi Mo realized that the flying cart he had seen was no magic artifact, it was a cultivation artifact. Yi Mo immediately felt cold sweat going down his back. Those who could use a cultivation artifact were at least at nascent soul state tertiary stage or even at hollow spirit state. Yi Mo was sure that the cultivator on it was not at nascent soul state. In the cultivation realm, artifacts were divided into magic artifacts, spirit artifacts, cultivation artifacts, and immortal artifacts. Each one of them could be low grade, middle grade, top grade, and extreme grade. Usually, a cultivator at golden core state used mostly spirit artifacts. Those who used cultivation artifacts were all cultivator with great power. As for immortal artifacts, that was the foundation of big sects. Yi Mo rejoiced that he had gone into the golden page world quickly. Otherwise, if that master had found him, he could have annihilated him with a finger. These power beings killed people without any restraints. They wouldn't even ask for their names. From the golden page world, Yi Mo even felt that the cultivator in the cultivation artifact had slightly noticed him and scanned his spirit sense over. It was a pity that with his current power he couldn't let out his spirit sense in the golden page world. Yi Mo had guessed right. The flying cart was indeed a cultivation artifact, and on it there was a dark-faced cultivator who looked like he was in his 50s. He had a black mole on his face and short hair. His eyes were extremely cold. He immediately frowned and scanned where Yi Mo was repeatedly. The golden page world had fallen amongst the mud and bones. It really wasn't discernible unless he checked the bones one by one. The dark-faced cultivator scanned for a long time, but he didn't find anything. Hence, he took back his spirit sense. Yimo didn't dare to be careless facing such a high-powered cultivator. He stayed in the Golden Page world for 24 hours. Only then, he suppressed his Kai before carefully coming out. When Yimo came out, he found that the cultivation artifact flying cart had been long gone. Yimo breathed at ease. He had been scared to come out and find the guy waiting for him. But soon, Yimo noticed something was wrong. There were some minor changes there, but he couldn't tell exactly what had happened. Yimo sent out his spirit sense and carefully scanned the surroundings. Half an hour later, Yimo took back his spirit sense and understood what had happened. The cultivator who had come yesterday had set up multiple formations, including a trap formation and a kill formation. These formations were very hidden and they had been linked together, which showed that the person who had set up this was very skilled. What did this guy set up these formations for? However, Yimo immediately realized that since the guy had set up formations there, he would be back. In that case, should he still get his leisure fire? What if the guy caught him when he was trying to take the leisure fire? Yimo hesitated for a moment, but he still decided to get the fire. He had limited time and if he didn't get it today, he didn't know when he would the chance to again. Moreover, it would only take a short time for him to take the fire. Once he got it, he would immediately dash away. Yimo didn't go take the fire immediately. He went back into the Golden Page world and made a few formation flags before coming out. He couldn't see what was going on outside the Golden Page world when he was inside, so he made a few surveillance formation flags. Although he really wanted to change the person's formation and control it, he didn't dare to. His formation skills were stronger than this person's, but the difference in power between them was too great. However, he still made many formation flags that could instantly change the trap and kill formation if he needed. If the guy caught him and he changed the formations, that would stop him for a while. After all of this was done, Yimo then headed towards where the fire seed was. Half an hour later, Yimo arrived at the southern-east border of the hill. It was a deep valley. Yimo got there, but he didn't find anything there after scanning his spirit sense. Hence, he decided to use earth travel and went into the ground. After going 200 meters into the ground, Yimo stopped. He finally understood why his spirit sense couldn't find it. Chapter 877, Breaking a Formation. Chapter 877, Breaking a Formation. It was a natural cloaking formation. Even a body condensation state cultivator might not be able to scan the spirit sense inside, much less his false core state spirit sense. What shook Yimo the most was that the place was very hidden, but it didn't have any unique marks. How did Li Yuqian find it? How did the cultivator before her find it? However, Yimo cast these thoughts aside. He could ask her how she found it, and if she didn't want to talk about it, it didn't really matter to him anyway. Yimo's spirit sense pierced the natural formation and went into a stone room. It was about 10 SQM. Someone must have found the natural formation first and built a stone room inside. There was a skeleton inside the room. It was probably the cultivator Li Yuqian spoke of. There was no leisure fire there, but inside the stone wall behind the room, Yimo found a faint orange fire. Was that the leisure fire? Yimo stared at the faint gust of fire in confusion. He had seen rare fire seeds before. The big elder of the magical herb sect had one. It was a Kenqing fire ranked 26, but even that was countless times stronger than this alleged leisure fire. The leisure fire ranked 29, so it shouldn't be this far off. However, the faint yellow fire had a sliver of white smoke. It was the signature of the leisure fire. What surprised Yimo was that the flame was faint, but still had an orange color. Yimo knew the levels of rare flames. From low to high, it was yellow, orange, red, green, aqua, blue and purple. The lowest level was pale yellow, but when it was dark yellow, it could ascend to orange. This flame was already pale orange. Yimo shook his head. He was disappointed, but it was still a rare flame. When Yimo's spirit sense locked onto this flame, he immediately noticed something wasn't right. The flame hadn't been casually left behind, it was bound there. He had to break the restriction to take the flame. Restrictions had a lot of similarities with formations, but it was much simpler than a formation. Any cultivator could build simple restrictions, but the high-level restrictions were no easier than formation. Yimo believed the restriction would be no problem for him, but when he scanned the restriction with his spirit sense, he realized he was greatly wrong. The restriction was very strong. At least, he couldn't put it down. It was also an attack restriction, which meant that if it wasn't undone properly, it would attack the person. Yimo calmed down. He didn't think things seemed to be so simple. He scanned his spirit sense around carefully, and when he scanned the four corners of the room, he almost screamed. He found that the stone room had actually been formed before the natural formation there, since the stone room had been completely embedded in the formation. Yimo knew there was no way that this world would form a stone room and then form a natural formation around it. The only explanation was that it was no natural formation, it was artificial. A person had managed to lay down a natural formation, even Yimo was shook. The attributes of a natural formation were that there was no way for it to be found. Artificial formations left some traces behind. If someone could set up a formation without leaving any traces behind, how powerful were this person's formation skills? Yimo didn't even dare to imagine. Yimo looked at that skeleton and understood some things. It seemed that the cultivator hadn't brought the leisure fire there. Perhaps he had wanted to get the fire and got killed by the restriction. Then, Li Yuqian found the cultivator and the fire. She had taken the storage ring but didn't take the fire. This meant that someone else had brought the fire there and restrained it. For some reason, that person never came back again. Yimo thought about it. Did that person leave it there for the fire to evolve? If so, then if he undid the restriction, he would get an orange-level rare flame. Yimo's heart was beating very quickly with these thoughts. However, he didn't let this blind him. He knew that the restriction was not easy to break. He also needed to figure out how the spirit sense barrier formation had been set up. If he understood that, it would benefit him greatly. Perhaps due to the experience he was going to gain today, he could build a natural formation as well. Yimo had cultivated the three-birth chant and he was much stronger than an ordinary cultivator in terms of insight. He was a high-level formation master himself, so he didn't take long to notice the strange features of the formation. The stone wall seemed to be able to faintly suck spirit chi. How could a stone wall suck spirit chi? Yimo immediately realized that the stone wall was the core of the formation. The leisure fire was inside the stone wall. If he broke the stone wall to take the fire, then the restriction would get activated. If he didn't break the stone wall and just tried to take the fire, the restriction would still get activated. If one wanted to prevent the restriction from getting activated and get the fire, he had to break the formation first in a non-destructive way. Forcefully breaking the stone wall or spirit controlling the leisure fire would activate the restriction. However, since Yimo could see the core of the formation, he could solve it. It wasn't a very strong formation, it was just a spirit sense barrier formation. Yimo took out his materials and started to make formation flags. A few hours later, Yimo had made 30 flags and spread them around the corners. Then, he activated them, he even used top-grade spirit stones. An hour later, the stone wall cracked and Yimo rejoiced. He had broken the connection between the stone wall and the restriction. However, Yimo found that at the same time he solved the problem with the formation, the restriction had also released the fire automatically. He didn't have to take care of the restriction anymore. But the next moment, Yimo cursed. He had to gather all of his cultivation essence to stop the leisure fire and he tried to forcefully spirit control it. He realized that breaking the formation wasn't exactly helping. Once the leisure fire escaped the restriction, it was going to escape. It seemed that the person behind all of this didn't want anyone to get the leisure fire no matter what. Yimo had gone all the way there for the fire. He wasn't going to let it escape. However, Yimo found he had been greatly wrong. He had thought the pale flame would be easy to capture, but when he surrounded the flame with his spirit sense and cultivation essence, it immediately emanated intense heat. Even the spirit stones he had thrown before became the flame's nutrition. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.